What is up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It's Friday night. Welcome to Blood and Popcorn. I'm TJ Rotell, and with me, as always, are my two horror hosts, Denise Pantoja and Glenn Akers. Guys, hello. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday.
Ooh.
Ooh. What's going on, guys? It's Friday night. It's Blood and Popcorn. It was Glenn's week to pick. We got a hell of a movie on the docket tonight, gang. Hell of a movie. First off,
really
thanks
is.
Epic for continuing to sub.
Epic.
For once,
Thank
it's Epic just subbing to the channel. I love it.
Epic.
I love it. So
Epic's
welcome to the show,
one.
everybody. Just a quick reminder before we get started, don't forget we do have chat commands going if you want to find out more about the channel or more about the show here on Blood and Popcorn. I do not know if I updated the Streamlabs bit, but I'm gonna go see. But someone else is gonna talk now because
Check it out.
I gotta go check that out.
Glenn, tell us why you chose House.
House.
I chose House or Hausu. I believe it's pronounced. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. I wish I did.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Regrets.
my
Regrets in
list.
my life.
You know, it's not over. You can still learn a language. Just take a lot longer.
That's cute that you think
I
that.
couldn't do it. I'll tell you right now, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
I couldn't either.
I got arigato gozaimasu, and that's it. That's all the Japanese I know. It's all the Japanese I'm ever gonna know.
That's fair. I feel that. I picked 1977's House or Hausu, however you want to say it. It's honestly one of my favorite movies. I believe you two have seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Denise, do you want to say anything before I dive into why the hell I think I thought this was a good idea?
I mean, listen, this is your pick, so I definitely want you to give us, because you got us into this movie. You introduced us to it, right? Is that correct? TJ?
I don't remember. We might have seen it before because I want to say that Mo had watched it with us in like El Segundo, maybe.
Oh shit. Okay, so.
But we bonded over the fact that we had both
Glenn brought
knew
the
and
passion.
loved it.
He brought some
Oh
behind the
yeah,
scenes.
I didn't watch anything with subtitles until I met Glenn. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was too distracted. But then Glenn introduced me to the magic of Japanese horror, and I never looked back. I mean, you know, I'd seen some stuff in my day. I'm a big fan of Suicide Club and in a House, obviously, and you know,
Obviously.
like Battle Royale. But House is on a
Excellent
different
movies.
level, man. House is, I don't know, man. House is what I think I would refer to as cinema. Like I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels cinematic to me.
I agree.
I don't disagree.
I would honestly say, and this, I only say this about like a couple movies. I think this should be shown in film schools.
I agree.
I would agree.
It's a literal technical marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that anything else came out in 1977 that was a technical marvel.
Bad year.
Yeah, shit year. I can't think of anything that was good that year. The best like one-liner description I've ever seen is from the Criterion Collection, which you can buy this. I wish they sponsored us.
Amen.
They still can. There's chances to get in still. Criterion Collection.
That's
right.
it. You know, this is the early goings. This is the round one financials.
Mm-hmm.
Get it in now.
We're only reviewing this 11 years after you released this.
Yeah, worth it. Timing is everything.
We need to usher a new generation in.
If there's one thing we do right here at Channel 29, it's being relevant with current affairs in movies.
Yeah.
That's true. So the best one-liner to describe this, I think I have to give it to Criterion, and they describe it in one of their log lines, or whatever you want to call it, as Scooby-Doo as directed by Mario Bava, which I agree with 98%.
Yeah, I can't really stray too far from that description. I think that pretty much hits the nail on the head.
Yeah. I would tweak that, but I'm actually going to save that until the end. Yeah, I don't know. I can't express how much I actually really love this movie. I guess I'll give it a little intro.
Do it.
It came out in 1977 in Japan. I'm not exactly sure what year it came out here. It might have also come out that year here. It did not do well in America. People didn't understand it, I'm sure. It also was going up against some, I don't know, star movie. I don't know what came out that year. Something about droids and Live Long and Prosper or something. I don't know what came out that year. Anyways, it was produced by Toho, who probably at the time the best known thing coming out of Toho in America was the Godzilla franchise, which actually kind of makes a lot of sense. This movie is very effects and optical wizardry driven, if you will.
Yeah, wizardry is a good word. I don't throw that word around a lot, but that's a good word for it.
I am surprised you don't. As a game board and production wizard.
Yeah, no, I only use wizards when it comes to special effects. I play sorcerer classes and bards, and I never deal with wizards.
All right,
deal with them.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just don't deal with them.
Sorry, I have my own cat creating havoc over here.
It's very thematic for today and the movie.
Yeah, I even left my office door open on the odd chance a cat would come in, just in case.
She's got more crap to play with in my room.
Just as long as there aren't now, I can't say it would sound really weird. Young girls to abduct, because that's kind of what happens in this movie.
Just the old girl here.
So
who's
I found
King
about
Busser Upper?
What's that?
Say
King
what?
Busser Upper.
I don't know. Hello, King Busser Upper.
Hello.
Wait, is that Craig again? I can't remember what last time Craig popped into a show.
Oh, of course, because he just said Denise Poo Poo Head, so it's
Yeah,
gotta
that's
be
what
Craig.
I'm gonna. Hi, Craig.
Hello, Craig.
I got it on the first try this time, buddy.
Nice.
Unless there's someone else, D, that thinks you're a poo poo head.
I mean, there could be more. Who knows?
You never know. The world's a crazy place.
We'll run a poll next time.
Depends on how well
We're
you
not set
know
up for
Denise,
polls yet.
if that's accurate or it's not.
Glenn, I'm sorry. We've taken this clean off the rails. Please
Oh.
continue with your intro to the
Not at
show.
all. No, of course. As far as I can tell, this had a rather interesting history. It sounded like the director, I'm not even going to attempt to say his name because I will butcher it, and I don't want to do that to anybody. It's not cool. I'll say it once, and then I'll refer to him as the director from now on. I believe it was Obayashi was his last name, but I don't want to say it ever again just because I think I'll fuck it up.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm just going to say director from now on.
Director.
Well, that's very thematic as well, Glenn, for the film, considering all of the characters are named as one of like the core attributes of their character, or like a stereotypical archetype for like a horror film, like the jock and the nerd.
Totally.
Like
We
they're
can't
all
just
in
call 'em
there.
that.
Yeah, and fantasy and Mac and Prof.
I don't know Japanese either. I desperately want to learn it. It looks like Nobuhiko Obayashi. Yeah, Obayashi.
See, like that even sounds way better than I said it. Like that's why I don't want to say it again. And that's like no disrespect. It's just like I literally don't want to put more disrespect on it. Anyways,
Glenn knows his strengths and his weaknesses. Japanese is not one of his strengths. We know this now. We can move forward. However, Japanese cinema is very much one of his strengths, which is why we're here today talking about Hausu.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take that. So apparently he pitched this idea to Toho, and they basically sat on it for 2 years. And apparently they had come to him being like, we want something that will be successful like Jaws was 2 years earlier. And if you've seen this movie, clearly that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Nope. Not a lick of sense.
If you were like, yeah, this is a Jaws remake, you're just like, in what way?
Bananas.
You're right. Anyways, so like they sat on it for 2 years because the way I understand it, the Japanese film system at the time, like if you weren't working for studios like a contractor, like under like actual contract, you just didn't make films for them. And he was not under Toho's contract. So they just kind of sat on it. And then lore has it that Toho had not been getting the returns on what they called like their traditional or straightforward scripted dramas. And they came back to him and they're like, basically, your script made no sense. We want to take a risk and see how well this does. And lo and behold, it actually worked in Japan, unlike here, unfortunately, stupid Americans. So they let him make it 2 years later, even though he wasn't under contract still, which is actually pretty amazing.
So was that kind of left over from because that's sort of been was a big thing since the golden age of cinema, right? Like where if you weren't in with that certain group.
Oh, that was totally an American thing too. Yeah, like if you in the golden age of like American cinema, like if you weren't under contract with a certain studio, you didn't make movies for other studios unless the two studios got together and made a contract, which was somehow beneficial to each of them. Like that's why,
like Marvel and Sony today.
Totally, but like worse.
Oh yeah, real much worse.
Well,
hello to Art Hard Studios. Hello, friends.
Art Hard.
If you guys don't already follow Art Hard, go do that. They make awesome content. You should go follow them. Glenn, Golden Age.
Yeah, like in the Golden Age, like Humphrey Bogart worked for X studio, and like if he needed to go work or wanted to go work for another studio, they had to pay his original contractor a ton of money or had to cut some sort of sweet deal. And that was, I assume, the way it worked in Japan. Obviously, in like the 70s, America had broken the studio system because it had failed at that point here. But I think it was still the same way in Japan. That's why like it probably sat for 2 years before our director could make this batshit insane movie for Toho.
And batshit insane is exactly the words I would use. It's a wild ride. Like, I mean, like from start to finish, from frame one, like as soon as the Criterion Collection logo disappears, in the 10 or so animated house logos start to move, you're like the cage comes down over your shoulders, you're buckled up, and you're off like a rocket at California Adventure on the Incredibles coaster. Like it's a wild ride.
Sometimes you vomit in your own face.
Oh, Teenage Mutant Josh. Is Josh here tonight?
Josh!
Yo, what's up, Josh?
Speaking of people to follow.
Ooh, yeah, Josh, I'm coming for you, brother. Ooh, yeah.
Teenage Mutant Josh is a filmmaker as well.
Yeah, Josh is going to come on this show at some point if I can convince him to do so. Josh is a buddy from Australia, incredibly talented filmmaker. Like, speaking of bananas talented filmmaker. And he's got a bunch of shorts online right now. Postmortem Mary is one. You can go check that out.
It's so good.
Josh, drop the link to your stuff in chat here, man. And I think I can approve it when you do. Is that how that works, D? I don't know, man.
I think so. Austonian said he felt like he was stoned even though he wasn't while watching the movie.
Oh, yeah. It's like a flashback. The whole movie's an acid trip. It's insane.
It's true. I've had more steady trips than I have actually watching this movie. Or so I've read in books.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, like I said, start to finish, it's wall-to-wall insanity. But you know what it brings, and I think this is one of the things that like all Japanese cinema brings, is like the acting in this movie is actually really good. It's a crazy place to put these actresses, but when in some of the later scenes, just like when they drop like the schoolgirl joy and they're like truly experiencing like fear or like ghostly euphoria, like they're just phenomenal performances that just happen to take place in a fucking living cartoon nightmare, you know.
It truly is. Like, I'm probably going to use the word cartoon a billion times when we talk about this, because it really, really, really is just a living cartoon, like you said. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, for those who haven't seen the movie, why don't you tell them a little bit about it?
Yeah.
About like the plot?
Yeah.
That
Come on, Glenn, do it. This is your pick.
We're able to follow.
Sure. I mean, let's get real for a second. The plot really isn't important.
There's so many messages.
There are, but that's not the plot.
While I listen to you, I'm gonna pop in, not sponsored, little Hi Chew.
Ooh.
Oh, a little Hi Chew.
Which Hi Chew are you?
I have watermelon currently.
That's a extremely can't think of the word. Great choice. That's not what I was going to say, but
thank you. I like
themed choice.
Yes. Well, okay. Before you get with the plot.
Whoa.
Nice.
That's intense.
I'm gonna have to offline with you and ask where you got that shit.
It was in Ohio.
That was not what I was expecting to hear.
Oh, what's up, Jay
crab
Turo?
flavor Lay's.
Yeah, I just dropped the link to Josh's short on YouTube, Postmortem Mary. You should go check it out. If you like excellent horror, this is something you need to go see. I highly recommend. Funny story, like I met Josh on Facebook. Like I just like it was years ago, like almost, I think it may have been a decade ago. I'd thrown up like a Facebook page for a zombie movie I wanted to make, and he had just done a zombie movie himself, and it was awesome. Like he like emailed it to me and I got to watch it. It was fucking dope. And then we've been friends ever since. We got to hang out when this movie Postmortem Mary was in LA at was it Scream Fest? Well, I think was that what it was? What's that horror festival, Glenn, in Hollywood? Is it Scream Fest?
I believe that's one of them.
Yeah, I think that was.
There's also Beyond Fest.
No, I don't think. Maybe it was that. I think it was Scream Fest. But yeah, but yeah, we all got to hang out. It was a good time.
Scream Fest sounds right, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it was Scream Fest. But yeah, Josh is great, man. Go watch whatever that dude makes. He's phenomenal. He's gonna be a big deal someday. You're gonna find out. You're gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, that guy was. I knew about that guy back in the day.
We heard about that guy from those 3 people. I can't remember their names.
Those 3 weirdos.
Freak Fest. Oh man.
Talking about house. and like Grown Fest and also Fest.
Yes, Jay Turo Haichu is better than Starburst. Agreed.
I'd back that play. I'd back that Jay Turo.
Totally.
I mean, know.
For the pure fact that they just last longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they taste better.
Yeah, the flavor is just...
really enjoyed the wood chopping scene where Kung Fu was then fighting the pieces of wood. And then was maybe I imagined it. What?
Yeah. Must be an illusion.
She Kung Fu'd her skirt right off and never put it back on.
Why would you?
It was restrictive.
It's true.
It gets in the way of the Kung Fu.
Yeah, it impacted Kung Fu.
The character.
Yeah, and the practice of the martial art, the ancient martial art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, plot. That was what I was going to do. So, it's gorgeous, right? It's funny that this is one of my favorite movies, but I can't remember the main character's name.
I've got them all memorized, like they're the 7 dwarves.
And Fantasy are like 2 of the main ones.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. That's her name in the film. She's with her father, correct? I mean, if I want to oversimplify it, which is basically what it is
excuse me for a moment. Carry on.
Her father sends her away to her aunt's house in the country, which is basically just a haunted house in the middle of nowhere. And she brings a bunch of her friends along the way. And then from there, shit gets weird.
Yeah.
And that's like really, truly the like 2-sentence plot structure of it. And there really isn't a whole lot more that you really need to know, because the rest of it is just like beat to beat. This is what's happening. This is how fucking crazy it's getting.
Yeah, it just really ratchets up from the go, and then the next thing you know, you're rolling downhill, and then it's the end of the movie, and you're like, holy shit, what a roller coaster ride.
Exactly. This isn't a film about plot. This is a film. It's a film about the journey more than the destination, really.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And I want to wait, until Dee gets back to dive further into the story, because I want her perspective on it. But I think one of the things I love most about this movie is just how they just throw fucking caution to the wind.
Yes.
It's like, I think you described it when we were watching it as it's meant to be like a fever dream. Like any movie that makes me at the end of it go, man, I have no idea if this shit was intentional or if it was a mistake. Like, that's how good this movie is. Like, you're just like, whoever made this is like not a great filmmaker or a genius, because it can only be one, right? And it's clearly the guy's a genius. So
you're right.
Yeah,
no,
so
it's true.
A thing.
There's that's actually one of my favorite types of movies. It's where you're watching, where you're like, is this trash, or is this like the Mona Lisa?
The best thing that's ever been made. Yeah.
Exactly. You're just like, oh no, it's not trash.
No.
It's
solid gold, baby.
Stop crying.
No, that it fits, Dee.
Yeah, let the cat meow.
Okay,
this is part of the show.
Oh, she ran away.
So I know you two have seen this movie at least twice. What were your initial reactions, like the first time you saw it, or the first time you saw it if you didn't see it clear-headed enough the first time?
I was very clear-headed. It was like, what? Was basically it. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
I remember seeing it the first time, and I'm fairly certain I was rocked to my socks. So I can't, in all honesty, say I had strong opinions about it the first time I saw it. But I will say the second time I saw it. Sorry, as I'm talking here, I'm writing the marketing tweet because I forgot to tweet that we were live.
Oh no.
It's been a day, folks. It's been a real long day.
It's all right.
And Daddy's very tired. He's sleepy and he needs some rest. Oh.
It's been a day.
It's been a hell of a day.
Actually, let me just tell you why I walked away real quickly, because
yeah, go for it.
Josh mentioned Shudder, right? Very cool. We're going to keep an eye out for that you said the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So Shudder has been sending Halloween Easter baskets to people, important people. I did not get one, and I'm very sad. If anybody's listening, I will take a late one.
Yeah, Frank Shudder, if you're on the line and you're hearing this, how about we get some gift baskets?
Uncle Shudder,
here, huh?
Aunt Shudder,
Unky Shuts.
So it was like a black picnic basket, or black basket with all sorts of, like there was a bunny with a cut neck, and I can't find that one for the life of me. There were like monster peeps, which I'm gonna have to go to the store this weekend and try and see if they're around, and these guys, which I did not know existed.
What the fuck is that?
Have to make your screen bigger. What?
Holy
These
shit!
Are
Holy
Cadbury
shit!
Scream eggs, and they have the cream is green, and I ordered a box.
First off.
But they were delivered earlier, and I was like, oh no, I hope they didn't melt because it was sunny out, but it was like 37 most of the day, but I don't know. So
first off.
Yes.
I fucking love Cadbury cream eggs. But here's the thing.
Tell me.
I only like the cream in the middle.
You don't like the chocolate part? You don't like the egg?
I only like the yolk. So what I do typically is bite off the top because all the stuff usually sinks to the bottom. And then you like bite off the top and eat that chocolate because it's not bad chocolate. Cadbury chocolate's great. But then I like scrape out the yolk and eat that.
Go get a spoon and I got an egg for you, buddy.
But dude, funny story. When I was younger, I used to think Cadbury cream eggs were so fucking gross because I thought there was real egg inside of them.
Oh my God.
Because you at a glance it looks like yolk. And you're like, oh God, that's fucking disgusting. Oh. Why would anybody put that in their body? They're gonna get salmonella. The fact that I knew what salmonella was, but couldn't figure out that the yolk inside this chocolate egg was sugar, is still a mystery to scientists to this day. I have to ask though, I don't know what happened here in chat. So what did that really just happen was my feelings. TJ pulling out the Dobby voice. Did I do a voice and not realize it?
Did you?
I don't know. It's been a crazy day.
Oh, yes, many face huggers in them. Oh my God, J. Turo, that's brilliant.
I don't know.
Once you showed the green slime one, I had an idea. And if Cadbury's listening, or anybody that knows anybody at Cadbury.
Steve Cadbury and his sister Susan.
So what they should do at Halloween, instead of eggs, is they should do 55-gallon drums, green slime, Return of the Living Dead.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic.
That's brilliant. It's cold outside, so it's not as creamy as it would normally be.
When did I do Dobby?
But it's a delight.
I don't know.
I assume we're talking about like Harry Potter Dobby, like the elf.
House elf.
The house elf.
I was opening my candy. I don't know.
Man, well, that should give you a peek inside my brain. You know, just other voices sliding out all over the damn place, like you do.
It's usually how it happens.
Okay, where were we now?
We're talking about.
Have we started the show yet?
I think so.
Why am I here? Don't answer that, Greg.
I guess this is
are you here?
Oh, when I said I was tired and stuff. Interesting. I'll have to watch that back later.
I think the last time what we were talking about was...
We're still on plot. We're still trying to get through the one thing we came here to
No, we got through the plot. I think I asked you guys what...
Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk about what you'd mentioned, reading about... Now, where did you get the information on, like, the journey that these young girls go through and that being kind of like the subtext of the script? Like this journey into womanhood. Is that something that we found on the internet? What is that? Is that just like speculation?
Oh, that was from my head.
No, but I think it's interesting that you said it because it's like there is a lot of, indeed, this is why I wanted to wait till you got back. Like as a woman,
I have a vagina.
Yeah, as a woman with a vagina, you know, like what were your thoughts on that? Did you see that parallel in the film as well? Were you able to put those pieces together?
I mean, we had talked about it previously.
Yeah, like Glenn, you're not the first person to think this. Like Denise and I had this conversation in the past.
No. Let me preface this, sorry. Like, I'm sure there are much more intelligent film scholars who have seen this and made a much better argument. This is what I thought of the first time I think I saw it.
Listen, everybody knows these are opinions. You don't have to talk yourself down, Glenn.
Yeah, man.
You know a lot about cinema.
We're all here to make silly opinions about crazy.
Leave my friend Glenn alone.
Well, sure, right. But I also don't want to say that like I came up with the idea, which I surely didn't.
No.
I was born
getting melted
years after this movie was made, so like there's clearly not the first time I thought somebody thought of it.
Years.
A decade-ish.
Yeah, I can absolutely see those parallels.
Yeah, and like, you know, the script, like I gave the script some points on that because I think it was a a really interesting way to tell that story. You know what I mean? To bring that to the big screen and give it a twist, a scary twist.
If that was the case, it could have just been by accident. Who knows?
Could have been. Hey, shit, art happens all the time. It's funny. You know, when you're not looking, bam, right behind you, sneaking up on you, art. You know, you got art.
This is very interesting.
What is? This show?
Yes, our show is very interesting.
Why, thank you. What's up, Mac Morden? Dude, I never got to the store, man. I didn't get any Fireball. I'm Fireball on zero here. I'm Fireballless. I got no fireballs.
There's so much amazing visual stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it is a candy store for the eyes.
Yeah.
It is.
So many things. So many.
So that was your
types.
You know what I'd like to do right now? In chat, if you would like to participate in this, if you've seen the movie, please feel free to do so yourselves. But Denise, you just gave me an idea. You said it's a candy store for the eyes. Glenn, do you have like a really crazy, obscure description of this movie that you would use to describe it as Denise just did?
Ooh, man, I wish I did.
Well, here, you think one over. I'm gonna say mine. I thought of mine as soon as Denise said hers. Mine was, it's like a coloring book come to life.
That's really good.
But like a child who has not yet quite learned how to stay in the lines.
No, that shit was everywhere.
But in a beautiful way.
Yeah, in a very artistic way.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. I don't think this really works, but I'll say this, like, to me, the first time I saw this, it really, and I don't know why, so please no one stab me for what I'm about to say.
Oh boy.
It really reminded me of, and I think would actually make a good double feature with, of My Neighbor Totoro.
I haven't seen that.
From Studio Ghibli.
That's interesting that you say that, because, you know, for those folks at home who don't know what that is, it's a cartoon.
It is a cartoon from maybe the master of animation. If you're into cartoons, like, I'm sure you've seen it.
Is it a feature?
Yeah. I know you've seen characters from it, Denise. You might have actually seen it,
Probably.
or at least clips from it. It's probably mainly because it's just kids in different numbers, like in a country house in Japan where there's just like mystical things happening that aren't really explained, but it's just like, oh, this is childlike wonder. Yeah, anyways, so I guess my like off the cuff is that it would be My Neighbor Totoro in a 70s Italian horror movie.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, if Argento made it.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert. The thing that I was gonna say is where I think Criterion got it wrong when they said it was Scooby-Doo directed by Mario Bava. Like, it's more accurately Scooby-Doo directed by Argento.
Yeah, all those hard colors, all that hard light.
It's like the hard colors, the hard light, but it also deals with like children or like prepubescent children.
Yeah,
Children,
that
but
coming of
also
age.
Definitely Argento's.
the supernatural,
Yes,
and
exactly.
and in a non-traditional, non-linear kind of nonsensical way. I don't say nonsensical in a way to like demean the art at all, but it's just like, it's,
Oh yeah,
the sky's the limit.
it's a dream.
Yeah, leave
It's
no
like it's a
idea
straight
behind.
dream.
Put them all in the movie. How many ideas you got, kid? I got 173 ideas. Put them all in the movie.
Interestingly enough, you had talked about the acting, TJ. According to IMDb, none of the 7 young actresses were trained film actresses. They were models.
That's true.
Wow, how interesting.
Who had worked with the director previously.
Well, commercial director, right, Glenn? You were saying this was his first feature film.
It was his first feature film. He hadn't ever directed a feature. He'd only done commercials and like experimental films. That's why they didn't really want to give it to him at Toho. But like, again, like their normal scripted things weren't doing well the last couple of years. They're just like,
whatever.
Shoot your fucking crazy thing that you pitched to us that made no sense, that somehow was born of Jaws.
What a weird like pitch.
Seriously.
I would love to hear that pitch.
I mean, I'll tell you this, like, you know, spoiler alert, obviously, we should probably start saying it at the top of the show. But in a way, the house eats a bunch of kids in a very violent and dismembering way.
Yes, very dismembering.
How a giant shark named Jaws might rip off limbs or, you know,
ate a bunch of kids.
Someone, you know, because again, with Jaws, like the thing about Jaws, to sidestep because we're there now, is like Jaws isn't like your typical horror movie. Like, these kids in this movie House, they're innocent. They did nothing wrong. Like, there are no flaws in them. Like, they portray an archetype, but it's not like Cabin in the Woods where like they're punished for their sins. In Jaws is to me is that in a similar way. Like, that town there's no like Indian burial grounds like a Poltergeist. Like, that town didn't do anything. There's just a giant shark in their ocean and it's fucking eating all the kids. Like, and there's innocents that die in the movie. So like I can see like if I pull myself, if I dolly back enough into the ultra wide, I think I can make the connection that Jaws and Hausu have like a similar beat.
Sure.
And it felt like, I mean, even to this day, it stands very much alone. But speaking of Dario Argento, did that come out in 77 as well?
Sure did.
Suspiria. What did he do prior to 77? That was that
prior to Suspiria.
Yeah, that was very much in that same sort of visually and story driven.
I mean, Argento's always been visually driven. Pre and post Suspiria. Before Suspiria, he did The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, The Cat of Nine Tails.
And were those like on par-ish with Suspiria visually?
Visually, yes. Color, no.
Okay, interesting.
Then he also did Deep Red before Suspiria.
The poster art for Deep Red is like one of those pictures that is like the lady upside down, and then you flip the page and it's the old hag. Like, that's that cover art. Every time I look at it on like Shudder, I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at?
The reason I ask is because, and I don't know, maybe something was just in the water in 77 or 76, but I remember hearing this, and in IMDb trivia, it talks about how the father, when he comes back and he sees Gorgeous, he talks about how Leon liked his music better than Morricone. So I'm wondering if he wasn't influenced as well by
that is funny. If you want to go deeper into Argento, so Argento directed all the ones that I just mentioned, directed all of them, definitely directed all of them. He also helped write Once Upon a Time in the West, which I believe was 1968, which was a Sergio Leone movie, which had the music from Morricone. So,
I mean, maybe, maybe Obayashi was not at all. They maybe just, that kind of, like, maybe there was something in the water.
I think you definitely have something because like
Was it
Argento
drugs?
definitely had.
Was it drugs that was in the water? Like strong acid? Was that what was in the water?
But it's just interesting to note that they did talk about Italian composers at the beginning.
Glenn, what was the cartoon you compared it to? Can you drop it in a chat?
Scooby-Doo. Oh no, My Neighbor Totoro.
Was it My Neighbor Totoro?
I was like,
oh, Totoro, the little round dude.
Yeah.
Totoro. Yes, I have seen Totoro. I mean, but I haven't seen any of the cartoons.
Oh, I can't drop these. That's right.
No. Well, I mean, you can't. Post in chat, Glenn, and I'll make you
permission.
Then you can do it.
And the trivia also says that many of the special effects techniques that Obayashi wanted to use were not available in-house in Toho's in-house special effects department. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, the special effects in this movie are such an enigma to me, because they're like, you get in there and you think about, well, for the time, quote unquote, and even for the time, those special effects are bananas. Now, like, there's a lot of shit in there, like all the blue screen stuff that didn't get keyed out because it's like crazy hair and stuff, and you just can't, you can't get in there. They probably ran a budget, but
or it was 1977.
Yeah, or it was 1977. But like overall, like the special effects are pretty damn good.
The hair coming up her back when she's in the bath.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
reverse photography there.
Love that.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff.
The transition where the guy comes into screen and then he pulls back and they're at that ramen house. Like that was really cool too. That wasn't really an effect. I guess that was more of an edit, but that was like, I love that transition.
Yeah, that was really excellent. Well, there's like, it's got like some really unique moments. I think like all around, like do either of you have any like standout moments that just, will stick with you? I know I wrote down a whole list of them because there's just some stuff that's just so unique and so unusual that you can't help but remember it. You know what I mean? Did you guys have any like a couple moments? Like Glenn, what was like a couple moments in that movie for you that really stood out?
I actually don't have any written down, but like you did point on one that like does stick in my memory. The hair coming back up on her. Yeah, that was reverse photography, and that's simple to do. But if you watch that again, they did an excellent job directing or acting, whoever made that decision. Like she reacted in the right way, because usually when you do like reverse photography, your face and the way you react is fucking wrong. It just is. And like when that happens, and like the reaction that happens is actually extremely well done. That is a really good example of that. Was this a special effects in general question?
No, this is just through the whole movie. Like, do you have any like a couple moments that really stood out to you that you just absolutely love about this film?
I'll let you guys go first because I can again talk about this movie all day.
Denise.
Oh, okay. Do you want to arm wrestle for it?
I'll go.
Putting on the water bucket is good. Exactly, Epic.
Yeah, I think the two that Epic said were two of mine as well. The obviously the cat spewing blood out of its mouth at the end, I thought was fucking rad. Kung Fu severed legs was a fucking fantastic moment in that
What a
movie.
victory.
Yeah, what a victory. The funny thing too about is Mac's floating head coming out of the well is that it takes the time to bite her in the ass, which I think is fucking hilarious. Because like Mac's whole thing is like the whole thing she's made fun of for the whole movie is that all she ever does is eat, and even in death as a floating head with no digestive system, she still wants to take a bite out of that ass. I think that's fucking brilliant. Really, really funny. Really funny stuff. D.
Agreed. I would have to say, yes, I agree with all that. Oh crap, what was the first one you said?
Oh,
you were talking about, no, the Kung Fu legs. When the because we haven't seen it in a very long time. The Kung Fu legs, I was like, fuck yes. She comes back with half of her body and still kicks ass. Like that was so great. Yeah. I did love the hair part. Like I thought that was very well done. I really enjoyed the continuous and I would say, consistent use of slowing the movement down. There was also that moment where they were coming down the stairs and it lasted for many minutes. It was like, it wasn't even slow-mo. I mentioned when we were watching it together, it was almost like stop motion like.
Yeah, they
and
took
I
some
don't know what
frames
that
out.
trick was. What was it, T?
You remove like every other frame or a couple frames here and there and give it that jerky like look.
I really enjoyed that part. And I was like, oh, it's still going. Okay. And I think that when they did that and they slowed a lot of the scenes down, it really did, for me, amplify the tension and the anxiety, and it helped tell the story of a more negative moment as opposed to some of the brighter, more cheerful moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think just even like the whole last like 15 minutes of that movie where it just goes completely off the fucking rails. It's so action packed. It's so bananas. Like everything from the literal guy that turns into bananas.
The literal bananas.
Like it's really like it just ramps up so fast. It's almost like they said, "Hurry up, we got to finish the movie." And somebody hit the fast forward button, and everything else through the rest of the movie was just like go go go, guns blazing, full go.
Fingers playing the piano. Oh yes, Ostonian said the backyard at Gorgeous's house at the beginning reminded him of the backyard of TerrorVision.
Oh my God, yeah, you're absolutely right. Same exact style.
Talking about that, and it was like, it was so bad, but it was like, was that on purpose? Was that a style? Was that an aesthetic perhaps in the city to have maybe the fake green grass? I don't know. Like the 70s was fucking, wackadoodle.
It was a wild time, man.
Oh shit, there was something else that I liked that I was just gonna say and I forgot it.
Maybe Glenn will remind
I'll mention on that. Like, I think it definitely was intentional here in Hausu, the backyard looking that way. Like, Hausu, in no way do you think or are supposed to think it was like ever outside. Like, not that you're supposed to think it's like a stage play or some shit like that. Like, I believe you're supposed to watch House like it's a fantasy, like it's close to reality, but it isn't quite there. A lot like a dream.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they were trying to do with TerrorVision. Maybe it was.
Right.
And if they were, touche. I loved it. I did love TerrorVision. Go on.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I also, for some reason, it kind of sticks in my head. It makes it feel like, and I can't remember if it was Blast from the Past, like the bomb shelters where they recreated, like, was it Blast from the Past where they're like down below and they've got the house kind of built and there's that astroturf to make it look like the outside. Do you remember that Brendan Fraser film where he's grown up in a bomb shelter because they thought
is that what that was called?
Blast from the Past, I believe so. Yeah, with him and Alicia Silverstone.
Funny, yeah.
I'm gonna try and find
a
visual. But the other thing I was gonna say that really stuck with me was, and I don't think it was a translight, because we actually looked it up. Translights were made by one particular company, TJ, from 1950 to 1979, so they were around.
Oh wow, interesting.
And if you are unfamiliar, the translights are the big like pieces of material that make it look like the New York City skyline behind somebody on their, balcony.
Yeah, and I believe those specifically are like differ from like backdrops because there's areas from which to rear project light to give the
that is the difference. It's a dual purpose, like you said, backdrop. Like you can light it for day because it's usually a photo or a painting of the day. And so you light it from the front, and then so it looks like a day scene outside your window or behind your bushes or whatever it's behind. And then at night, it has a special coating or it has like cutouts in it, especially for like cities, that if you light it from behind, it'll shine light through like windows, like if you have skyscrapers behind you, but it'll also make the sky look dark. It's a very specialized piece of equipment that are not cheap.
No, they're not cheap at
Right.
all. We should know. We used one on Zach and Mia. The three of us did.
They
And,
work fucking great though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like phenomenal. They look beautiful. The way we rigged that up was hilarious. We rented two scissor lifts and built some box truss, and basically leveled them out and raised the scissor lifts up to hoist that thing in the air. It was really awesome. And then we fastened the center.
Was that my idea?
The center. It might have been. We fastened the centerpiece to the structure above to give it like proper support.
That seems accurate.
But that was a fucking great
Duct tape and
trick.
dreams.
I mean, there might have been duct tape on that.
Probably. But one of the things that stuck out
Gaff
for
tape.
me was the no, you can use duct tape too. Gaff tape isn't always appropriate. Was the backdrops, which seemed like they could have been hand painted.
I mean, I would think at the time, I don't know if there was any type of large format printing like that. I think everything's hand painted at that time.
I think there was, like Denise was saying, there was translights, but I don't think Japanese cinema at the time would have been like taking that cost on for that. Like I can't imagine what
Well,
a
especially if
translate
there was
cost
just-
in the 70s.
Well, especially if there was only one company, and I think it was in America. Therefore, shipping that crap is probably
Yeah, it's never gonna happen. God,
whole thing.
you remember how big that fucking tube was that thing came in? Like, oh my God, it took like 6 dudes to carry that in. It was fucking
Yeah,
huge.
it's heavy.
Yeah, it was
And
massive.
if you look at the scenes where they're in, especially when they're out by the well, the clouds change 3 times, which means they would have had to have 3 different ones.
Yeah.
I think honestly what they did, like Denise was saying, is they had true like hand painting artists go in and like basically make a huge mural, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
and then they just lit it.
Yeah, it might have been like a dusk one with just like all of the colors in the sky were just stunning. And it was just, I don't know, it was, when we went to Disneyland in Tokyo Disney Sea, one of the things we noticed was that it felt like all of the set decoration, all of the props, all of the costumes were like 1.5 times above what we see in the States. It felt like there was a lot more care and a lot more thought put into a lot of the visual.
Well, you look at like the attention to detail. You know what I mean? Like just like, and even in this movie, like the attention to detail, like there's just so many interesting little things that if you're paying attention, you could see like the production designer on this must have really knocked it out of the park, like prop masters and everything. Cause it was just all the stuff in the house and like the watermelon stand and, like everything was very like, again, like either very lovingly thought out or completely lucky that it worked out that way. Like I can't fucking tell.
Which is possible. I feel like we should have counted. I didn't even think about it. We should have counted how many times you see a painting of Cat.
Yeah, well, she
That
had
would be
lots of paintings of her
There's a
cat,
lot.
Blanche the cat.
Hey, where'd the cat go?
My grandmother's maiden name.
One of the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Then.
Well,
Thanks for joining us. Have a good night, everybody.
yeah, it's been a great time. Good night.
I was looking up, there's another Japanese horror film that I like that I probably won't put on here because it's very long. I'm not sure streaming. That does have like amazing painted backdrops, and I know for a fact that they were painted backdrops. It's from the 60s, Quaden, or I'll put a link in chat here in a second, which is why I think they probably used painted backdrops here.
I would almost guarantee it, man. It sounds absolutely right. Like just by the look of them, they look painted to me.
They do, which is weird because like paintings have this weird, I don't know how to do it without like getting really philosophical. Like they look fake, but they also look like amazingly real.
Yeah.
Because they're like done by humans.
Yeah.
Like if that makes sense, like how the Mona Lisa doesn't look like a human, but like looks like a human. You know what I mean?
I do. I actually do.
Anyways,
Cat tried to eat me.
I'll put that in chat if
sense
anybody's
again.
interested in what the fuck I'm talking about.
On theme.
For real. Epic loved at the beginning when the bus dropped them off like in the middle of nowhere, and then they walked through the forest to find the house. I was like, oh my gosh, how far away is this house?
That bus was great, man.
That bus was great.
Yeah, that whole bit of business was fantastic. The watermelon vendor was so crazy and hilarious.
Those watermelons were so fake.
Yeah, they look like balloons that they'd blown up and painted.
They're like very round.
Yeah.
Also, I was like, how are you gonna invite 7 girls over to your house and your fridge is broken? The fuck? What are you
well, she doesn't need to keep anything refrigerated. She's eating these motherfuckers.
This is true. This
You know
is
what
true.
I'm saying? Gaining vitality and strength through each one of their souls and bodies.
This bitch, she comes out dancing and shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, like I said, like the last few minutes of that movie, like punch the gas and go full throttle. You know, two body counts within like 2 minutes. And then it goes into this really crazy like epilogue scene that was like really interesting and like kind of wraps it around of like you know the stepmom coming to the house to find Gorgeous, and Gorgeous being like a woman now, and like opening her doors to this woman only to fucking close the trap and burn her alive. Like,
She didn't even eat her.
Just
She was like,
maybe, you know, she flambéed her. You know, you never know. Maybe she was just getting making it crispy. You know, just cooking her up a bit. But yeah, like that's a really long scene, and then like the overall message, which you see through some of the music, which I absolutely fucking love the music in this. I love the main theme.
It's great.
Yeah, the main theme was outstanding. Like it really sticks with you. Like it's one of those really gripping pieces of music. Again, like Argento, known for putting some fucking really amazing themes musically in their movies. It's you know, this really had some nice stuff in it, but it also had musical numbers. You know, like what more can you ask for? You know, you got like a couple musical numbers in there, and that was fantastic.
Yeah. Glenn, talk about that thing that we were talking about with the music and the sound editing.
Oh, the layering?
Ow. There were a couple moments. Ow. Sorry, Dr. Pepper exploded right in my face earlier, so I have big chunks of hair being held together by Dr. Pepper right now. The cherry on the top of my fucking subscription.
Weirdest excuse.
Oh shit.
So many subs.
Yeah, epic fail coming in hot.
Oh, that was you, Epic.
Coming in hot.
Thank you, Epic.
It's the next few seconds are for Austonia Knight, who's going to be screaming subscription in chat. Epic, thank you so much for the gift subs, man.
No.
You're too much. You're too much. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought it was the cat. I was like, what happened? I just heard very faintly you singing subscription.
Yeah, Mo, I have no idea what you got modded for. I'm in mod view now, and I'm trying to see.
Mo, what have you done? And
I can't find anything. I don't know what you could have said.
Maybe you do need to make Mo a mod.
Yeah, shit, I might have to.
Is it? I don't know.
Mo, do you want to be a mod?
2 round?
I don't know. I have no idea what Mo just got blocked for, but you know, whatever.
I don't know.
Thank you, Epic, and thank you all. Thank you all for your love and support. It's amazing.
Yes, thank you.
It's amazing to have you here.
Do one live, TJ. No,
what?
No, stop it.
Oh, you want a live one? Is that what I'm talking about? Is that what we're talking about?
I think so. I think we deserve a live one.
A little subscription. Just in case you were wondering who did that, who made that voice. It was
destructive. She's so destructive.
Was that you?
That was TJ.
Oh, that was me.
I did not realize that was you.
Oh, really?
I mean, it makes sense.
Tis
I can
me
hear it now that I
again.
hear it.
'Tis me. Yes, yes.
It is true. Mo does have a dirty mouth.
Filthy Mo.
Mo, you got a dirty mouth.
It's
You
fucking
filthy Mo.
despicable.
So we've been talking for an entire hour. Should we?
Yeah, I think it's time to get into the scores
into
here,
it?
D. I think it's time to start jiving into the scores.
So just a reminder, if you want to play along, you do not have to. We are going to be discussing script, acting, production design, wardrobe, music, sound design, camera and lighting, editing, and overall enjoyability. And we will be talking about ratings of 1 to 10. So we have a possible 100 coming.
Boom. Mo, you're
Some of us will regret our scores later in this series.
You know what? Never regret.
Huh? What?
Let's never regret.
Yeah, how about we show some mod love? You know, we got a new mod. Momo's coming in as a mod. Throw some hearts in chat for our amazing mod squad.
Mod squad.
Yeah. Thank you, mods. Thank you for being here and supporting the channel. And thank you.
You know what?
I'll
also tweet at Estonian. Sorry, TJ. Man, I've been interrupting all day. Denise doesn't know how to talk.
It's all good, yo. Yeah, so I take it as I was figuring out how to make Mo a mod. D, you explain the rules of the game.
I did explain the rules of the game. And, you know, interestingly enough, since we're going to start with script, did you know about the radio play, Glenn?
I'm sorry, what?
Of House?
So listen, what is it?
Go on.
Hold on. I've lost it.
I have to dust off my tubes. That's how radios work, right?
I was like, your tubes. Did you have them tied?
God, I hope so.
Ew.
Oh.
That guy you paid at that club that tied your tubes for you, Mo. Yeah, Dr. Nick's like, hi, everybody.
Holy shit, that's a fucking great Dr. Nick.
Oh, yeah, I do an okay Dr. Nick. That's the first time I've done him in a while. But yeah, I do. I loved Dr. Nick was such a crazy character in The Simpsons. I was like, holy shit.
Why can't I find it? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. What are you looking for, D? Is it your scores?
No, I'm going to be doing that live. Son of a bitch. There's something I had read.
You're doing your scores live? Is that what you said?
I did.
This is hilarious.
What's hilarious?
You're hilarious, man. Your head's all out of frame. What are you studying? Do you have a microscope down there, like looking real close and magnifying?
Here we go.
She's looking for the radio.
There we go.
In IMDb, under trivia, it says the radio drama of the film aired a year earlier in the winter of 1976. It was co-directed by Obayashi and a radio producer, Osamu Ueno. The radio drama differs from the film version in that the story begins with a new teacher named Togo inviting 7 girls to the Kurogami residence in the countryside as part of on-the-job learning.
Whoa.
Okay.
Radio drama. Say what? Sorry.
No, it was great, D. Thanks for that piece of information. Speaking of movies that have radio dramas, this one's on vinyl. There's a War of the Worlds musical that's on vinyl. That if you find it, just Google War of the Worlds musical, and eventually you'll get to the song A Million to One. And I feel confident that you'll thank me when you listen to this musical on vinyl. It's fucking ridiculously amazing.
Life-changing?
It's life-changing, yeah. It's A Million to One.
Oh my God. Glenn, your notes are very impressive.
Don't read my notes.
Why can't I? We're on the same. Why don't you then make our individual tabs? Goodness gracious. Why don't you go first, Glenn, so I don't have to read your notes?
So we're starting with script, I take it.
We're starting with script?
Yeah, starting at the top.
All right. Yeah, like the script is, it's one of the lower scores for me. Not that it's low. Basically, it's simplistic and it doesn't make a lot of fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a live action cartoon. So like it doesn't need to. Like who goes into watching what the fuck's Bugs Bunny is about to do and be like, well, that didn't make any sense. Script. But I will say that there is a fair amount of subtext and like foreshadowing that actually should be looked upon. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Also, I love this movie, so I'm going to give it like a lot of points.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting there myself. Denise, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm gonna go with 7. For
Wrong.
the what?
Huh?
I didn't know I was being graded on my score.
Glenn's defending this movie violently.
Because like you said, it is like a cartoon. And if you think about it, it's almost written like a cartoon. So there's a very shallow first layer. But like you said, the subtext, all of these stage directions
Yeah.
are where it's at. All of the production design, the props. So I mean, I guess in a way, I mean, that is also script. I mean, we read the script, but so I'm gonna give it a 7 because for like straight up dialogue, it's very shallow. It's also a little confusing, and I say this as an ignorant American, because the translations from Japanese to English and English to Japanese are always very can be very like literal translations can be real off base. Like when we went to Japan, there were some amazing t-shirts that were like, what were some examples, TJ?
Oh my God. I'm never going to remember it correctly, but there was a stormtrooper flipping pancakes, and it was something like stormtrooper loves pancakes for your mama, something like that. Like it was like next level crazy t-shirt design. If any of the clothing that we found in Japan went over an American extra large, I would have bought all of the fucking t-shirts. But I rock like a 2X, 3X on a good day. So like, I didn't get to
Asian
buy
sizes are always like much smaller.
any t-shirts. We ended up going to like a Ross or something, or like a Michaels, like, or a version of that. Like we went to a t-shirt store, a place where you could buy t-shirts, because I had run out of clothing. I remember I had to have clothes like laundered from the hotel because I ran clean out, because Japan when we went was a fucking sweat box.
So
Like it was
hot.
it was a Turkish bath. Like you walked outside and the humidity was so high, 15 seconds after you stepped into the sun you were wet. So
I hadn't
like
seen that since South Texas. I was like,
oh yeah, so like I went on a t-shirt hunt, and man, I could not, like, I finally found a place that had 2X t-shirts, and I was like, yeah, fucking A, and I go back to the hotel and neither of them fit. I was like, well,
I have one of those t-shirts.
I think you do, yeah.
But yeah, it was very off off the literal translation mark, or very off the making sense. And maybe it was done on purpose too, but that's why I feel like when we're like I didn't realize for a really long time that Gorgeous was her name. I thought she was just calling her Gorgeous, and I thought that was just like a really interesting way that they were talking, like just calling her Gorgeous every 5 seconds. But and the story was interesting. It was fine, but yeah, we don't go much further into like there's no explanation or reasoning of why they let her get away with this, how the watermelon man knows, like why didn't anybody ever come after her when all the young girls disappeared after going to her house. I for a second there I was like, did they ever say why Gorgeous's mom died? Like, did she kill her mom? Like, did she steal her mom's life force? Although she probably wouldn't have, because she would have been married already. So it was,
well, was she
how
married,
did she
though,
become
already?
a vampire?
She had said like what the like she was set to be married to Gorgeous's dad. So I don't know if she was technically married. And was that part of the deal?
Which deal?
Like the deal to be like the vampire can only eat girls that were not married.
Well, I mean, she mentioned that she ate girls who were unmarried, or it was mentioned at some point. Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't even remember when. Okay, 7.
Goodbye. Yeah, so I gave the script an 8 because I think it had a lot of deep cuts in it that were not on the surface, and I thought that was very clever. And overall, I just love the fact that someone was bold enough to put all of that crazy on paper and then turn it into a movie. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm a chaos being myself. So like, you know, this was right up my alley. Eight, solid 8, rock solid 8.
I would have to say, I have to bump mine up to an 8 because like I literally just contradicted myself where I said all of the subtext that was in the script is part of that. So I will change that to an 8.
Hey, you have the right to do that, Denise.
I do. I'm an adult.
No one's going to judge you.
You have the script, I feel like I'm fucking it over. No? All right, that's fine.
Glenn,
acting. I forgot.
Acting,
it's my turn again. Acting. I feel like I'm going to get shit for. I gave it the lowest score.
What did you do?
An 8.
What did you do?
Wait, you're saying you're gonna get shit for giving it an 8?
An 8, above average.
From my own head. Yeah, like you talked about earlier, they were mostly non-actors except for the ant, basically. Which doesn't mean you can't get great performances, because that's not how acting works. And I believe everyone in this did a good job. At least with my perspective. There is something unfortunate about not being able to speak the language the film is made in, because no matter what, like, there's always going to be some sort of disconnect if you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't tell if the acting is great or not, just because you can't hear dialect and inflection. And again, this is really hard to tell because this is basically a cartoon. But anyways, like, I think all of the actors got what was trying to be conveyed across. I thought they did it all pretty well. They all played their characters verbatim to their character names. I wasn't like, Mac didn't strike me as not being hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, considering she's Brad Pitt in the Oceans franchise and is fucking eating every scene.
Right, exactly.
You do some research and find out that she was the inspiration for Brad Pitt's character in the Oceans franchise.
That would be amazing.
Brad Pitt's just a huge House fan.
I would like literally have to figure out where Steven Soderbergh like lived and shake his hand, like, you got that from House.
Yeah, you win, buddy. You win director of the wonderful forever.
I mean, you already directed and made The Nick, and I love that fucking TV show, but you like Brad Pitt off a House? What? Anyways, I gave it a very low score of an 8.
It's a travesty.
It is possibly a travesty.
I believe.
I probably should have given another extra half a point or a point, because truthfully, they got however many of those white cats to fucking do anything.
Oh yeah.
One, because set animals literally don't do shit. Sorry, set fucking wranglers.
It was silent.
Dude, I worked with a fucking donkey once. A miniature pony.
Cats don't do shit ever. Whatever you want them to do, they don't do shit.
In life or on film, the same.
Nope.
I think set cats do less than fucking real cats.
Yeah, all they do is lean against C-stands and smoke cigarettes. Oh wait, no, fuck, that's grips. Never mind. I get to say that. I was a key grip for a couple of years. I get to say that. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I did my long fair share of leaning against C-stands. That's for fucking sure.
Did you hit on makeup artists?
Well, no. Because my entire career I've been with someone, so. But hey Denise, you're coming up with your scores live?
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Can we put you at the end of the rotation?
Sure.
Cool. Okay. Well, then I'll go next. Glenn, we were very aligned on this in your hot take. I gave it an 8.5 on the acting. I think it was like really really good. Like I can't I'm trying to find a flourishy way to say it, but good acting is good acting, and it doesn't matter what kind of crazy you paint it with. Like fucking good acting. Like it's great. Like I said, like the scene at the end with Prof in the blood pool, having all her clothes stripped away and dying, and just coming out of the water with that like almost orgasmic smile on her face. Like, and you've seen this like seconds before, you've seen this girl in a full bore panic reading out of some like old book, fucking screaming and yelling, and in the next shot she's just a like over 9,000 euphoria as she's being eaten by a pool of blood. Fucking yeah, A plus acting in this movie, like fucking across the board. Well done. Oh yeah, that car Togo was in Australia Night was like
my
fantastic.
Gosh. That was great.
The Banana Man, Mr. Togo.
Acting for me, I was very surprised that they were all untrained because nobody stood out as being untrained. All of these girls, like you were saying, Glenn, there are some things that you can lose in context. That's why I was saying, the exact translation is sometimes difficult because there is a lot that can be lost in context. But from what I saw on the screen and the subtitles and how I saw them reacting, everything matched up. It was believable. When they were making fun of their friend, and when their friend was terrified, and when they were transitioning from thinking this was all a joke to realizing that their lives were actually in danger. Like it all read for me. So I'm an 8 on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, D, because again, like I'm not super huge on foreign film in general. Like I said, I have a short attention span, so my ADHD doesn't get along well with foreign films. So but the thing I love about foreign horror specifically, like the themes of horror are so universally understood by humanity that you could shut the subtitles off on this movie and it would be, you wouldn't really know what was going on because there's a lot of exposition done in the dialogue, but like you still get those base beats, like the human instinct beats of elation and love and fear and joy and anger, and all of those still play if you watch the movie on mute. And I think that's really attributed to the performance, because when you're watching a foreign film, you're not getting the full performance because the translation isn't going to be a 1-to-1. So you're not getting the whole story. You're only able to experience the emotion of the story through those performances. And that's one of the things that I always like. When you've got a good foreign film, you can watch it on mute. Like the performance is so good. Which one? Train to Busan. Yeah, Train to Busan is the same thing. Like that movie is fucking great.
It is great.
One of the best zombie movies I've ever seen in my life, and zombie movies are my fucking genre. So,
and one of the things I think that people don't give horror credit for and don't remember, and even though there's so much hokiness and there's so much campiness and there can be such bad stuff, horror is so much the human condition and watching it through adversity and seeing the transition of people who are concerned with ridiculous stuff to fighting for their lives. And there's so many emotions. There can be comedy, it can be a drama, it can be just straight up slasher flick with just blood everywhere. I mean, it encompasses every aspect of film, and it's so underappreciated. I mean, when that whole Wonder Woman came out and everybody was like, finally, we have a hero we can look up to. I can appreciate that for obviously young girls who aren't going to be watching horror. Great. There was a female superhero finally at the helm of something. But I thought it was very disrespectful to all of the heroes who had come before. Every fucking final girl, Wonder Woman, the TV show, like Mila Jovovich in the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, dude,
you
Buffy,
have
Ripley, fucking
Linda Hamilton.
yeah.
I mean, yes,
Laurie
Sigourney
Strode,
Weaver, Laurie
Nancy,
Strode. Like it's
Nancy from fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, the lady from Leatherface, like.
Even though horror has had a bad habit of doing very misogynistic, very racist, and very surface level tropes, it still gave us the female heroine. I guess that's redundant, but it gave us a female victor. You know, the final girl is
the
so
whole
important.
idea of the final girl is such an amazing concept that you have all of these strong masculine figures surrounding this, you know, as portrayed in the first 2/3 of the movie, weak and innocent and helpless female character.
Waiting for the man to come rescue.
Looking for the man to come rescue. It's the polar opposite of every other genre, right? Like romantic comedies, romance, fantasy, drama, comedy. It's always this idea of, you know, Prince Charming needs to come save the princess from the castle. And in horror, the trope is completely fucking flipped. Like, sure, you typically have a strong male character that is like either a love interest or a new interest or a best friend that like tries their best, but ultimately always, like 10 out of 10 times, fails. And then you watch, like, one of the movies I definitely want to do in the show is Final Girls, because I think that movie is so fucking amazing. And the idea that the horror genre, which was bashed for most of, if not all of, including today, you know, by critics everywhere, like horror is not a beloved genre. It's typically looked down upon in the world of cinema. But the idea that horror was this genre that like, and I'm sure, you know, there are other movies that did it that weren't horror, but like horror really puts, you know, a strong female lead in the front of the movie, and I really respect that. I love that, and I don't think we would have as much of that as we would today, Denise, to speak to what you were saying, if you didn't recognize the Sigourney Weavers and the Jamie Lee Curtises of the world, who were pioneers and who made it okay for a girl to scream and cry and then pull out a machete and cut a motherfucker's head off. Like, I think, like, it's fantastic storytelling.
Barbara in Night of the Living Dead.
Well, Barbara in Night of the Living Dead was such an interesting flip in the Savini version, because there's two very different characters.
I speak of the Savini version.
Yeah. Well, like Barbara in the Romero black and white version is a very different character than she is in the Savini version. The Savini version, she is a badass, and she gets there very quickly. Like, Barbara goes through the motions of like those stages of grief, you know what I mean? And she gets to rage, and she just fucking stays there for the rest of the movie.
And it feels genuine.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel forced.
Oh, it's all earned.
And then too, horror movies, social commentary. I mean, wait until we get to Romero. Oh, y'all, we're gonna just go off. But
yeah, we're doing the whole Living Dead series. That's damn sure. Romero.
His name is George Romero.
George A. Romero. He's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Duh.
Oh, the guy who did Night Riders, got it.
Yeah, that one. That's the guy.
Glenn's off the show. He's off the show.
Yeah, he's fired. But where's the two shot? But yeah, so back to this. So that was acting, right? Everyone did their acting bit. Glenn, let's get into some special effects, my dude.
Oh, we're still scoring this.
We don't have to. We just, I'll take shots and move on.
We're doing show. Special effects. I am upset that I can't break the 10-point threshold for this. It's very upsetting to me. It really is. We should rethink this. Like I said earlier, and possibly in the intro that was rambling, that this should be shown in film schools. Like this is literally, I think literally all of the practical and optical special effects that you can do in a film that aren't or black magic, depending on your version of it.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking everything. Like even ones that like people who don't understand what special effects are, like are in there.
Yeah.
I could go on for like 5 hours about how this movie is fucking great, with all of them, like rotoscoping to fucking fake film projection to wipes and blue screen and double exposures and practical effects and stop motion. Like it goes the gamut.
Yeah, absolutely.
And beyond. It without a doubt has a 10 on my scale. I'd give it a 15 if I could, but I can't.
Well, that's interesting, Glenn, because I would have given it exactly half if you gave it a 15. I gave it a 7.5, and here's why. I think looking at this from the lens, once again, I'm very pragmatic on this show, looking at the lens through this as like very much taking this, as it was, I gave it a 7.5 and all of the points deducted, because I would have given a 10, but all of the points deducted came from the blue screen keying. I couldn't in good conscience give it a 10. It deserved a 10 because, like you said, it ran the gamut of physical and digital effects from A to Z, end to end. It put them all in there, and that's crazy respect. And again, dude, back in 1977, fucking, I don't even know how you keyed out color in 1977. I have no concept of how that works, because nowadays you push a button on a computer and it does it for you. You could do it on your phone. On this fucking Zoom call, if I had a green screen behind me, I'd be in the Bahamas, and that could be on my phone.
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow. Who followed? It doesn't come up yet on the screen. I wonder where it is.
No, I agree. Like, I don't know how it's done. Like, I know how it's, like, I assume it was a dude named Dave and he had a ponytail. How did you do it in the 70s? Like, how did you key that shit out? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I get the complexity behind it, but I can't forgive it enough because it's still there. Like, I respect the fact that they tried to do it, that they did it to like 85% well, because it really is. A couple times you see some clipping around the edges, but most of it is in the hair, and that's a tough thing to do. It's hard by any stretch of imagination, and they were certainly not going to go in frame by frame and hand paint out all of that blue screen in the hair, because that would be crazy. So respect for it. 7.5, still above average for me, but I couldn't go as big as I wanted to because of that blue screen keying.
Sure.
I'll give you credit there for that score. Like that's probably more accurate. What I will say is I wanted to give it a lower score because this was Toho, and they did Godzilla movies. Like, they should know how to do better blue screen effects. Like, that was their fucking movies.
Yeah.
But the reason I gave it a 10 is because they threw in every fucking literal, practical optical effect in their book, like optical printing.
Yeah.
Like, no one would. I mean, I know other people were doing optical printing at the time, but like, they literally did like optical printing and rotoscoping and like true animation and stop motion animation, not with like inanimate objects. They did stop motion animation with living actors. Like, I think I can only think of like 2 movies that did that, and that didn't happen after 1930.
No, man. Like, look at are you talking about in the musical bit where that dude falls down the steps and then starts sliding all over the fucking floor and not getting hit by the car?
Yeah, that was stop motion.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, that. Yeah, that's wild.
Like Harold, like fucking. not Chaplin. I'm going to be pissed that I can't think of it. Silent film stars did that shit.
Follow. Thank you for the follow.
Anyways, sorry, Denise, your turn about special effects.
Special effects. I am in between the two of you.
Follow.
There we go.
Follow.
Sorry, I had things organized differently. You didn't get to see the dancing taco, so I wanted to put it up there.
Oh no.
Oh, there he is.
Boom.
I like
Did you
how
follow yourself? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I just tested the widget to throw it up there.
Great.
I like how his teeth are flexible.
Well, yeah, they're made of nacho cheese.
Gross. So this was a perfect meeting of the two, of practical, because we talked about it last time. You know, we were talking about CGI, but practical versus visual effects. There is a time for visual, there is a time for practical, and I think this was a beautiful celebration of both. It was everything and the kitchen sink thrown at it. Like you said, Glenn, I thought that was fabulous, and it all had purpose.
Yes.
And it all felt very well placed. Like they all fit. The body parts rolling around, I didn't realize it until now, the way they were done and the way they moved, it felt like little girls' paper dolls. But you know how the clothes are in pieces, but the body parts were in pieces. So that was very, you know, it was very flat, and they were moving all over the place, but it felt like a paper doll thing. So I gave it an 8.5. I went.
That's good. Midway. No, that's a rock solid rating. Like I said, I'm proving to be a bit more.
A bit more discerning in your taste?
No, not discerning, just picky. I think picky is the way I would describe it. It's picky. But we're on to production design.
Are we?
Mr. Akers.
What you're doing is you're being wary of the future.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm waiting
you're
for
maybe too wary, maybe overly wary.
What my
I don't know about
ultimate
that.
film
He
is.
might be right.
Like, I can tell you right now. Well, you know. No.
What am I gonna do? Beat myself up later? Like, come on, I do that every day on a normal basis.
Welcome to mental health.
Mental health. No, it's April. Sorry.
Every day. Yeah, Glenn, production design. Actually, you know what? Let me say something real quick before we go into this. A lot of people know about script and acting and special effects. Denise, you've done some production design. Take like 15 seconds.
Yes.
Give me like a 30-second breakdown for the people at home who don't work in the industry, who don't understand what production design is. And we lump in all departments. So we're talking about set design, prop, hand props, general art direction, set deck, all of it, like production design. Denise, tell us what production design is.
Also,
so production. Go ahead.
I was saying also, this actually does paint us because there are overlaps here for sure.
Yeah.
And it also does paint us to like not gives props credits, whereas like we should like be giving it like we're giving props credits under like production design, which isn't really fair because props is its own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like camera is its own thing and lighting is its own thing.
Yeah.
Like this hurts us as like industry professionals. It hurts.
Yeah. But we can't. Okay. We're already getting shit for having a 10-point ranking system. Everyone seems to think that's a little much. But fuck it.
We can't get more. I mean, 10 points for each category equals 100 it's pretty legit. It's what IMDb does. So
shit. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
No, like listen, if you have a problem with the ranking system, we don't hate you. It's okay. Everyone's welcome to their opinion here on Channel 29.
We don't.
But we will find you, and we will send Liam Neeson after you.
If you don't like it being out of 100, like talk to Amazon. They made it up.
Yeah, or just break it down and pretend, drop a 0 and pretend it's a 10. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you need to do to get through this show, we recommend you do so.
Shots.
God knows. God knows.
Some of us recommend shots.
God knows.
Anywho, we're going to... That's okay. We're going to go to Wikipedia real quickly to talk about the production designer because encyclopedias don't exist anymore because who's going to lug around those things, and shit changes all the time. So according to Wikipedia, in film and television, the production designer is the individual responsible for the overall aesthetic of the story. I would agree with that. They give the viewers a sense of time period, the plot location, and character actions and feelings. So that includes things like set decoration, which is furniture, paintings on the wall, anything. The set is the location, is the place you are in. Anything that an actor physically interacts with, holds in their hands, is a prop.
You'll oftentimes hear it referred to as hand props.
Hand props. There are continuing disagreements over whether watches are wardrobe or hand props, but you know that's a whole different subject.
Depends. My hot take on it is, if they interact with it, it's a prop. If they don't, it's wardrobe. Mm-hmm. If someone's gonna adjust that shit, it's a prop.
So it is a fine line. So a glass that I'm drinking from is a prop, but a glass that's just in the cabinet is part of set decoration. And there are complete and total, especially on a large set, there are very different departments that deal with that.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, it's a lot if you think about it. It really is a lot.
Yeah.
But they're not territorial. Don't worry about it.
Not at all. They all get along with lighting.
No departments are ever territorial or think that they're the most important part on set. Never.
Especially when it comes to front of the line at lunch.
Yeah, we say this because all of us combined have worked every department on a fucking film set. So
that actually might be true.
It's dead true. I've covered most of them myself for at least a day, down to hair and makeup and special effects.
Ditto.
Most of the shit that I haven't done is in post. That's where my big hole is.
I'm trying to think of this. Out of the three of us, I don't think there's any department we haven't done.
Yeah, for me, it's just post. Like, I'm not an editor. I'm not a post effects guy. I'm not that. But I've composed music. I've DP'd. I've gaffed. I've key gripped. I've done everything but post.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Denise, that was a derailment.
No, it's cool. Derail? No, that's not.
D-double-E railment, son.
So when we talk about production design, we are going to be talking about the overall look of the film, because if you break it down, there's a couple of dozen departments that we could really get very granular about.
Yeah.
But y'all don't want to hear us get that granular.
So with that said, Glenn, what are your thoughts on the production design of our film here, House?
I didn't put a fucking number in there.
Oh my goodness. Somebody slacking.
And it's entered. All right. So according to my notes, it's again, what?
Oh, I was laughing at Austonian and he derailed.
That's fair. Like a lot of it,
it's okay, Glenn.
It's hard. It's hard to judge because, like, it's a film that's not trying to be based in reality. Like, it clearly is not. But it's supposed to have like some sort of grounding in it, like the fantasy that the fantasy of the film is supposed to be grounded in some sort of reality. Like the kids are going to some sort of like aunt's house is basically where the reality is supposed to come from. So in that sense, like it really doesn't do a great job of like creating like immersive sets where you're like, oh, they're in some like ancient mansion in like the hills of Hokkaido or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you watch it as like a fantasy, and again they're in some sort of like cartoon house that like clearly based in Japan. Again, like I don't want to keep going back to my like analogy of like this is like My Neighbor Totoro or however you say it correctly, which I'm sure I'm fucking up. That like it like fucking works really well in that way. For the sets itself. Mm-hmm. Like clearly when they're standing at the bus stop in the city, it's just like not good. Mm-hmm. Background paintings.
Yeah.
But like they're only on that shot for like less than a minute. Mm-hmm. And then once they get to the house, it's actually a pretty really well made set. But that isn't the end of production design. What we were talking about earlier were about like the backdrops, the painted backdrops, and like what we thought might have been translates, but really probably aren't now that we talked about it. Those backdrops actually were rather amazing, especially those like skies that changed for between 3 different shots. Like those were true like oil on canvas, or I wouldn't say they were watercolor. They're probably oil on canvas, like
that's
true artists.
That's what I would think too. It looked like oil to me, like the brush strokes that I was able to pick
exactly
out. Looked
like those were like true oil on canvas artists who like were basically painting to scale, as you see, because like they had to have painted like 40 by 60 murals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If not bigger. And you're absolutely right. Like the perspective that they had to work from, you know, knowing, you know, here's the shot, you know, and this is what we're going to do. A couple of them that I noticed throughout the movie almost looked like they were comped in afterwards. Like maybe
I'm sure they were
on that blue screen. Like I would say about half of them probably were comped in after the fact. But no, you're absolutely right. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you given your score yet?
No, I was going to end right there.
I was going to say, did I miss it?
And it's over.
And I don't want to miss this because like I don't actually know where in our scoring system you should throw miniatures, because I don't know if that's technically production design or if that's special effects or that's camera. And that's just because of the way fucking miniatures work. There aren't many of them. There's basically only 2 shots of them, and I think they're exactly the same miniature. Mm-hmm. But the miniatures on this movie are actually fucking pretty legit, which again makes sense because Toho, Godzilla.
Yeah, whole cities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I gave them a 9.0. Again, like if this was supposed to be like a very serious film, and like this was taking place on like the side of Mount Fuji, which it wouldn't because that's not realistic. Like it'd be like, these were shit. What are you talking about? But like this is supposed to be like some sort of like awesome fantasy world. It's like a 9 for me. Also, hashtag I like this movie.
Hashtag you do.
Yeah, I mean, I went a little more conservative, not a ton more, but I went with an 8. I gave it an 8.0 in production design. I thought it was beautiful. There were a couple spots that, you know, were obviously just taking advantage of Japan's absolutely fucking beautiful architecture and other natural features. But I thought overall it was really phenomenal. A lot of great prop work in that movie, a lot of great set deck in that movie. Shit, like just like the lunch scene alone, like the amount of set deck that went into that to make it feel. I mean, you listen, it wasn't an American-made movie. You don't have to make it feel like you're in Japan, but you know where you are in that film in every scene. You know, which I think is great. So yeah, I gave it a solid 8.0. Dee, what are your thoughts on production design?
So for me, when you walk inside the house, and I focused mainly on the house when they got to the aunt's house. It was very theater flat-like, and that was probably done on purpose. It seemed to me, though, the house, all of the other rooms in the house seemed a bit just disjointed to me, actually. Like they didn't necessarily seem like they were flowing throughout that house. If you look at the common area they walk into, the side rooms, and I don't know. I'm not familiar with Japanese architecture, but like the lunchroom seemed a little more traditional. And then the house they walked up to and the house they walked into did not. So that's why it seemed a bit. And then when they were putting the watermelon in the well, and they were shooting it from here and the well was on the left, and then every other time they came back to the well, it was from a different angle. It felt like a totally different place. Like the first time they went in to drop the watermelon in the well, it actually felt almost like they were in like a greenhouse area, and then it looked different the other times to me.
That's interesting you bring that up, because yeah, now that you mention it, I think back to those scenes specifically with the well, and you're not wrong. Like that's a good perspective on that. Would you end up ranking it?
The paintings, I loved the cat paintings, and of course the backdrops slayed me. I thought they were stunning. I gave it an 8.
Yeah, rock solid score. Well, now we're on to yet another department that you've owned at one point or another, D. Wardrobe. Glenn, thoughts on the wardrobe department here for Hausu?
This will be where I am the shortest amount of talking. Wardrobe is definitely not my thing. Not that I don't appreciate it. Nothing stuck out to me, bad or good, other than I think the wardrobe really did a good job of showing each character, which is, I think, the true form of what wardrobe is supposed to do in cinema. It's like its base. Like obviously, wardrobe can do a lot more than that. It can help drive a story. It can help drive like where narrative is going. I don't think it was doing any of that here. I'm also a sucker for like just ridiculous 70s outfits, which it was from the 70s, so like that's not really a plus because it was of its time.
It was flush in 70s attire.
It was.
Thanks to the era in which it was made.
Which is great. Like, and as the show goes along, like it'll probably become clear that like if there's any era of movie period that I love, it's the 70s. So
the old 70s.
To be short, I give it a 9 because again, I love this movie. So yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense, Glenn. I actually went again with an 8. You knew where you were, man. Like I love, and again, I just love that about Japan. Like in general, like there's this great mix of modern and traditional attire in Japan, depending on where you are, and it's absolutely beautiful. That the culture in Japan still persists today, in that way, and I love that, and I think we got to see a bit of that, especially in the auntie's like final form outfit. I thought that like the amount of layers that villain sheds at the end of that movie, because it's just like crazy sleeve anime fucking layers on layers on layers. I thought it was awesome. And yeah, all the girls felt like they were exactly where they should be in regards to their wardrobe. No, I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a solid 8. Denise, again, curious on your thoughts here, because you've done quite a bit of wardrobe in your day, between features that we've done and Geek and Sundry. What are your thoughts? Tell us about your thoughts on the wardrobe.
Estonian. I just saw Estonian's comment. I thought that as well. Flow was odd, but I thought that was intentional. It could have been. That one, it took me out a teensy bit more than the other things that I forgave, because I felt like they were probably intentional. As far as wardrobe goes, I'm just a huge fan. If you've heard this once, you've heard it a million times, so I apologize if you're hearing it again. I am a huge proponent of this being such a major part of character development, because it helps the actors embody their character, and it helps tell the story that cannot always be told in actions and script. It gives you a little more, a little deeper look into the character, if done well and correct.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Glenn.
Yeah, because I almost bit it. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I missed it.
We almost got an
rewatch
amazing moment on this show.
I'm gonna need. Okay, what is
Glenn
this?
must be in his
158.
socks. Glenn's in his socks. And
158. I'm gonna go look it up again.
Oh, I'm in slippers.
Almost risky business himself out of frame. That was amazing. No, dude, that's some great insight on that. And I'm again obviously glad to have you on the show, but you definitely bring this. Again, you've covered a lot of the areas that I haven't, which is fantastic. But yeah, I'm sorry. Did you give your score yet?
I haven't gotten. I just talked about wardrobe in general.
Yes, go and tell us what your thoughts were on this wardrobe.
I thought that the archetypes were played into very well. I thought that it was all subtle, but you could, okay, yes, this is Kung Fu, this is Melody, she's the musician, this is Gorgeous, she's the fashionable one. I mean, Gorgeous was very fashionable, and that white pantsuit when they first arrived at the aunt's house was fabulous. The aunt's wedding dress was stunning, and the stepmother's flowing scarf at the end and her whole outfit and the way she was walking, it did very much make it feel like she was under some sort of trance, like she was under a spell. Gorgeous invited her, but the way she walked and the way it flowed and the way she acted, to me, and I could be wrong, definitely felt like she was being, like she wasn't paying attention to the banana-shaped man in the car. She wasn't paying attention to the fact that she had to park her car there and walk away, and she was just enjoying the whole thing. And got to the house and then was set on fire. But I thought that it told a new day and sort of a new sacrifice well with the way that she was dressed and how flowy it was. And to me, that helped move things along. So that was an 8 for me. I thought it was done well.
Well, do you actually bring up an interesting point? I want to backpedal to production design real quick, just to give it one more tip of the hat, if you will. When the girls initially get to the house, much like the auntie, is beat down. It's covered in cobwebs. It's very old and broken down. It hurts. That's Glenn, you got clipped. That's amazing.
Oh yes.
God bless Twitch.
Holy
and
crap.
Thank you, Mo, for doing that.
Thank you, Momo.
But
Slightly risky business.
Slightly risky business. But and then when we go back, D, to show that new day with the stepmom now showing up, there's all this greenery is taken. It's lush. It's alive again. It's beautiful. The light is shining on it again because this vampire has consumed 7 souls.
Yep.
And is now fully rocking their big bad energy, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So moving on past wardrobe, we get into one of my favorite departments, which is music. Glenn, what were your thoughts on the score here for Hausu?
I would first like to apologize to Denise. I did not mean to take my clumsiness as a star from what you were talking about, because clearly you
did it on purpose too.
Yeah, classic Glenn. Sliding
You're such
around.
a glory hog.
One of the things we always say about Glenn when we're working together on set is he's like always sliding around
and saying me.
Well, that, and he never says hello, Glenn. No matter how many times I walk in the room, you never say hello.
Oh my God.
You never say hi to me, Glenn. You never say hi to me, you're asshole, Glenn.
I should have started ignoring her.
Sorry, that's a story for another day. But we're on to music. We're on to music now. She'll never watch this, but if she does, hi.
Hi.
We could have somebody on there that could verify that story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Several people.
Like a doll's
Many
eyes. Yeah. So Glenn, the music of Hausu. Tell us your thoughts.
Okay. So like early on in the movie, when they're like, I think it's when they're at the fruit stand or like going to the fruit stand the first time, they play this like weirdly like in English or semi in English, like bubblegummy, like pseudo Beatles-esque, kind of also like the first season of like Scooby-Doo, like theme pop song.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like mixed English J-pop. Like you
yeah,
see,
exactly.
you know where you see it a lot in modern times is anime themes, like where you'll get
Yes,
a healthy
that's
mix
true.
of Japanese and English lyrics.
That's true. That's true. Not gonna lie, great fucking song. Love it.
Oh yeah.
And then like the rest of the movie, like the predominant theme is this like what do you call those things? Like you flip them up and like the ballerina's in it, but like you have jewelry in it.
Oh,
Music
like a music,
box?
like a music box.
A music
yeah,
box.
jewelry box.
Wow. I'm a human.
One of
It's
those
also jewelry
boxes
box. America.
from which music would come in some degree, some sort of box of music.
I don't know.
I don't know. Everyone loved the character Vinny in House, the classic Italian American New York stereotype Vinny. You remember that in Act 3?
His cannolis got cut off.
By a piano.
By a piano.
It's a piano.
Piano.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Anyways.
Go ahead, Glenn. Go on then, you Glenn.
Sorry.
This is an adult show. It's okay. We can make
now
pee-pee
like
jokes.
seeing Vinny getting his fucking cannolis getting off.
Got the old cannoli clipper.
It's,
Instead of fingers, it's little cannolis playing on.
that's
the
exactly what I'm seeing. And it's
I
just
love
strawberry jello that he's like. Anyways, sorry.
On to music.
I zoned out there for a second. I don't know what
Let's get serious. This is a serious show, you guys. Come on.
Get serious. Let's get serious.
Yeah, like beyond the like weird, like to me Beatles-esque Scooby-Doo, which at the time were ripping off the Beatles and their theme song, let's be real. Which was great. I love that. What?
I said I hadn't thought about that. Scooby, Scooby, Doo.
Oh, totally. 1969. Come on.
I mean, I was never huge into the Beatles, so I didn't think.
I wasn't either because
You weren't born.
I'm not gonna alienate fans of our show because everybody likes the Beatles.
I mean, it was a lot of synchronized guitar strumming. That's all I'm gonna say.
Anywho.
Anywho.
Anyway.
There was the music box, which is like the prevailing theme of the movie. I thought it worked well, like most horror movies that use music box music. Of that, like on one hand, it's like, oh, it's sweet. It's like it's a girl like combing her hair, like watching her like ballerina turn around in her music box. But like if you listen to it from like the other end of the spectrum, like it's weirdly nefarious. Like it's anti, like I'm gonna steal all these girls' fucking life. Like Auntie's a vampire.
Nom.
She is. She's definitely a vampire. She's also gorgeous. The character. And then like what I also love about it, because again, it's a 70s movie and I'm a sucker for anything from the 70s, like out of nowhere, they just throw out like a fucking like funky, just like 70s song that like doesn't show up again. It's just like, it's just like bass heavy and it's like,
I noticed that, yeah.
Slapping the bass.
Oh, all right. Okay. Johnny Wan's gonna walk in. Don't Google that.
No.
So what'd you rank it, Glenn? What'd you put up?
I gave it a 9.
9, solid 9 for the music.
Solid 9.
Yeah, Denise.
Carry on.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to say, if you're not familiar with Japanese vampires, they're different than American vampires. Very different.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah. So you should do a little research on that if you're interested. But I gave the music an 8. That was great. I thought the musical number was fantastic. you throw a musical number in a horror movie and I'm sold. So yeah, like solid 8, well done. The theme is amazing. I agree with everything you said, Glenn. And I'm gonna step away real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Hey, if you could come in again and like fall down when you come in, that'd be great.
Got it. We'll do.
Okay. So
Denise?
yeah, I was actually surprised he got so low. He put it so low. I loved it. I thought the theme was incredible. It's so recognizable, and it fits very well. It's very fitting. I loved all of the pieces that they layered, which we'll talk about next. I'll leave that alone for now. But there's a sitcom opening song and scene. That's what that is. When he's like falling down the stairs, it's the fucking opening of a sitcom.
Is it?
Like that was no. I mean that's what it felt like.
It could be.
It felt like you were starting a fucking, must-see TV show with the music and the entire scene put together. Like it totally felt like that to me. And then I remember saying that too. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I see that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember noticing that. I was like, oh, we've brought the 70s in with that little kind of funky vibe. And yeah, that was the only piece. But it was all great to me. I gave it a 9. I quite enjoyed it. I don't feel as discerning as Mr. Rotell, but I gave it a 9. I was like, gave it a 9, TJ. I gave it a 9.
Well, that's great.
You just like simply sit back in your chair.
I had my headphones out. I missed what you said earlier. I just said,
yeah. So you just simply sit back in your chair.
Yeah, that's how I do. I roll back
Fall out of your chair right now.
Whoa!
God, the whole thing goes down. The whole show goes down.
Whole stream drops.
Next is sound design, Mr. Akers.
Oh, it is me again.
It's your turn. There's only 3 of us, so it comes back quickly.
It does. I don't have a hell of a lot because it kind of overlaps with what we already talked about. Mm-hmm. The thing that really stuck out with me is that, like, at one point, I don't remember exactly the time code. I think it was like halfway through the movie. The white cat does this, like, it's not really a dance because it's more editing, where it like walks across the piano, mm-hmm. and it's meowing as it does it, which I'm sure it wasn't in real life. And then like they edit it in such a way, like they did like a very like fucking, what is this, 50 years before its time, like YouTube edit of like making it into a beat. Mm-hmm. Like they out TikTok before the internet was a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And they outdid it before the internet by 20 years. Like it's honestly crazy. Like I know that you can be like, well, you just take any whatever and like make it into a beat. It honestly kind of blew my mind. Like I honestly gave it 2 extra points this time.
Oh.
Like of how in the moment it is now and how like relevant it will be like basically forever. Mm-hmm. Because like before then, like people were like, oh, you just like this weird thing this cat did and you repeated it a bunch of times until it matched some sort of song you had. But like that's like 90% of TikTok.
Yeah, they auto-tuned that cat. They turned that cat's meow into a fucking MIDI sound.
They turn the cat's meow into like the cat's meow until like
the score.
The world ends.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What'd you give it, Glenn?
A 9.
Classic Glenn with a classic 9.
Classic for this movie.
Yeah,
All shit on other things.
Glenn, not to upset you, but I gave it a 7.5.
This
fancy
fella.
Sorry, I'm using a fidget spinner because I'm like very anxious right now.
We're over time.
No, God no, because
I mean we are, but
because I suffer from anxiety. No, I'm like thinking on the 7.5 tip with sound design because there was some stuff that didn't quite line up, but I gave it a full point for the cat singing.
Are we in music or sound design? Did I fuck that up?
No, we're on sound
design.
Yeah. Did you give it a 9 for sound design as well?
I did.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I gave it a 7.5. Glenn, while you were talking, I actually bumped my score up by half a point because I had initially cited the cat singing as the reason I went up from a 6 to a 7. But because
full point.
Full point because the cat singing, but ultimately it deserved a 1.5 because it wasn't just the cat singing. Like they did that a couple times in the movie where we got a piece, we got a slice of the score through in-world sound effects, which I thought was fucking brilliant. Yeah, so 7.5. Denise, how about you?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was very well done. I was a huge fan of the layering of when they would start one piece of music and they would bring another one in. And I think that they layered them very well and they did it multiple times. So that was very, a very big piece of that for me. So I gave it an 8.
8. Yeah, I think that's a solid score. For me, it's like, I'm thinking about sound design, and if anything's going to get an 8 or above for me, you're going to have to really start layering in atmospheric, like true atmospheric sound design. Because sound design is so important to me that it's just like I want to feel like I'm there if I'm going to 8 or above.
That really stuck out for me though, so I went.
No, I think it's great, and again, all three of us have different opinions. We're 3 very different people.
Don't judge my opinion, TJ.
Listen, we will turn this into a fucking debate. Don't you threaten me with a good time.
I have to go wash my hair. I gotta wash the Dr. Pepper out of my hair. I don't have time.
Hey, listen, that's that Dr. Pepper life. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So we are on now to camera and lighting. Glenn, I'm curious. Yes. I'm curious about your thoughts. Please tell the people at home.
So like I said earlier, like this it overlaps a lot with not a lot, but like some with special effects, which is why I give it as high of a score as I am about to. So like, excuse me, a lot of special effects, especially in the practical era, are truly like camera effects.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
true.
Again, like this movie is super
lush,
super like it. Like I said, it's the textbook example of like how to do basically all of them except blue screen. There's a shit ton of double exposures. There's matte paintings. There's like reversals, i.e. playing the film backwards.
Mm-hmm.
There's just like general like gorgeous cinematography, not just of the time, but like period. They also did a fair amount of making stages look.
D.
Oh.
Yep. Sorry, we have 2 cats, and it sounds like they just got into a fight, so you'll have to forgive us there.
Very appropriate for the show.
It's a show about cats.
I guess in camera they also did animation, but they also did a bunch of smash zooms and like whip pans and everything else.
Glenn, you've got the show. Hold on one second.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'm sorry it came to this. So apparently, we're going to talk about camera lighting. And I just went blank. Thanks, Mo. All right. So like I was saying earlier, the camera lighting like really overlaps with the special effects, like the double exposures. Like earlier in the film when they were like walking into the mansion and they're looking around and then they flash back, but like in the middle of the screen you see the person who's saying what they're thinking. That's a double exposure. It was like they filmed the outside of the mansion where it's just like, and like one of the characters is like, I don't know about this. And that like superimposes the head. And it was just like, I don't know, or whatever. Oh, TJ's back. Great. I was floundering.
Everything's okay. Everything's all right. Sorry, everybody. We have a foster cat, and her and her normal cat are not super getting along. And there was a whole to-do. Live TV, folks. Strap in. We're here for the ride. Very thematic for the movie we're in. Where were we talking about? What now? Camera and lighting?
We were. And Mo was being very kind and trying to keep me on track. But nope. I was floundering like a flounder.
Well, they don't call you Glenn the Flounder for nothing.
But not Flounder from Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Where were we? Did you give your score for camera and lighting, Glenn?
I don't think I did. I gave it a 9. Woo!
No one was surprised with a solid 9 from Glenn. I agree with everything you said before I had to run away to break up a cat fight, a literal cat fight. But yeah.
Thanks, Mo.
Yeah, thanks, Mo. I gave it an 8. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the use of light was excellent. I thought the camera work was excellent. I had no complaints from the camera and lighting department. Having worked at both, it's masterfully done.
Things I could have said when you were gone, but I didn't.
I imagine there was like that moment. What was that movie? What's that movie, Glenn? I think it's a horror movie where like the dude's on camera and the world, is it Scanners, where like the world just starts to close in on the guy and he's like, oh God, and his fucking head explodes. I think it's Scanners.
No,
it's not Scanners. I don't know what it is.
I mean,
but regardless,
somebody's head explodes in Scanners. Yes,
on the news, it sure does. Was it Anchor? Oh, hey Ergoth, what's up, dude? Hey, speaking of Ergoth, if you're going to be around tomorrow night, season 2 is up. It's coming up. Season 2 for this show is Cursed. Myself and Ergoth there, Davis Saunders, talking about D&D RPGs. Tomorrow night we're going to be talking about D&D video games throughout time and space. So that's very exciting. Denise is back. How's it going, D? Everything all right in there? Live from the front line?
Sorry, everyone. Yeah, well, I can't get to Lily because she's under the bed, but I checked Percy and there wasn't any blood, so that's good. No blood on her paws either, so hopefully Lily's not bleeding from anywhere.
Thank God.
But when I went into they were at it in the kitchen before they started. Sorry, the worst yell, and also sorry to all of my neighbors, like, because they started chasing each other again, or Percy was chasing Lily. When I went into the kitchen, there was just a big old tuft of Lily's fur like on Percy. So I don't know what happened. Jesus.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Denise, tell us about your camera and lighting scores now that we're back on the show.
Now that we're back.
So far, We've heard a 9 from Glenn and 8 from me. What do you got?
I have an 8.5 because those camera effects I quite enjoyed, and I thought they were they helped add to the intensity of the moments. So 8.5 for me.
Yeah, that's rock solid. Glenn, on to editing now, which I'm very interested to hear both of your thoughts because I had some very strong opinions on this one. So, Glenn, what were your thoughts on editing?
I'll not bury the lead this time. I give it a 9. I liked it because at this time in filmmaking, super fast cutting wasn't a fucking thing. It wasn't. Like, look at the speed that they cut some of these scenes in this film versus like some of the fastest cut scenes in a contemporary film from America, which would have been Star Wars. I believe that came out that year. They were extremely faster in this one. Like, they were like almost frame to frame as fast. Not that that's like necessarily like revolutionary, but I think it was kind of revolutionary at the time. They also did a shit ton of cross-cutting, so where like you cut to something that like really doesn't match. They did a lot of cross-fading, which actually was very Star Wars. They did a shit ton of wipes, like barn doors at one time. Like, they literally, like, the frame did this, which is insane. And like a circular wipe, which is also very Star Wars. And like whip hands, like the editing in this was frenetic, to use a not robust enough term. Like, the editing in this was fucking crazy. There were scenes where it just like went like this, like that. It was insane.
Yeah, machine gun editing.
Again, a 9.
Yeah, so here's the thing. For me, again, I talked about earlier, I've worked out department really, but post. I gave this a 6.5. It's my lowest score of the night for this movie, and I brought it up by 1.5 points. It was going to be initially, I'll tell you the story I was on. About halfway through the movie, I was at a 3 for editing.
3?
Yeah. There were so many problems I'd seen that it was really starting to bother me. And then by the middle of the movie, I started to question whether or not I was seeing an interpretation of bad editing. And then it landed on a 5. And then by the end of the movie, the last 15 minutes bumped it up an entire 1.5. Because by that time I had realized what was going on. But I gave it a 6.5 predominantly because I couldn't figure out, and I'd said this earlier, what was intentional and what was a mistake. Like, there was one part at the bus stop when they get to the village where you can see an entire corner of the flat that they were on. They'd not zoomed in enough to cut that out. That took huge points away because that was clearly a mistake and a huge mistake. But 6.5 for me. I just didn't know. I couldn't get away from, is this on purpose or is it not? So yeah, lowest score of the deck for me. Denise, how about you? What are you thinking?
It was, I like to think it was on purpose, because it felt very cartoony. I will agree with you. The first 25 minutes for me weren't great. There were a lot of hard cuts. Like, there was one that really stuck out for me where I was like, okay, so we're back at school. It was like gorgeous in her bedroom. It was all very kind of moody, and then hard cut to the girls talking about their trip. It didn't make any sense. There was a bit of that that I didn't like. But as we moved on, those wipes that you're talking about, Glenn, they felt very cartoony. You know, which is why I think that they were on purpose, because it felt like it matched the rest of the aesthetic. It was very like Adam West's Batman show, where
good parallel, great parallel.
That's great.
the wipes that they used, it was better because it was like with the, the logo and things like that.
Oh, holy shit.
That is what
Epic.
it felt like.
Epic coming through.
Damn, Epic, what are you doing?
Subscription! Well, D, let's just take a second to appreciate the subscriptions, because I'm gonna be singing for a minute.
Oh, here. For sure.
That was a bunch of them coming in hot.
My goodness.
In hot. Epic.
Thanks,
You're too
buddy.
much, bro. Oh my God, we're gonna have to make another plaque. Yeah, we're gonna have to make another plaque. That's all there is to it. Yeah, Epic. Cheers to
Epic's
you, man.
raising the bar.
Thank you for the heavy lift.
Thank you so much, Epic.
Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, no, you're gonna get it. That's the next plaque, man. You're setting the bar.
Oh my gosh. I keep
so D, did you give your score for editing?
I have not. Let me find it again. Haircuts. I also really enjoyed that edit from the man shoving his face in a frame, and then we're back. And then we move over to the ramen bar. I thought that was fun. So I gave it a 7.5.
Yeah, that edit, the ramen, that whole ramen edit, that definitely ticked up for me too, because it was so clean, and it was so fast, and it happened so nicely. And then Ramen Bear, who doesn't love a hard cut to a Ramen Bear? Ramen Bear? Epic. Yeah, Epic. Apologize for interrupting with 5 gift subs, buddy. Interrupt all you like, man.
You don't have to apologize.
Yeah, Ramen Bear. Remember at the ramen shop, they hard cut to a single on a stuffed bear in a ramen in like a chef's outfit, like the rest of the guys, and it almost looks like bear hands the dude a bowl of noodles. And for a second, I'm like, is the bear real? Like, go back and watch that scene, hard cut from the guy coming into frame and taking up half the screen and getting to the ramen shop. There's a shot in there where it almost looks like the bear is part of the cooking staff. When you go back, it doesn't look that way, but the first shot you see of the bear looks like it's part of the scene, not just set deck. And that shit rocked my world. So here we are. It's a fucking cartoon. So here we are at the end of our journey, at the end of our experience that was Hausu, our enjoyability score. Glenn, I get a feeling I know what you're probably going to go with here, but tell the people at home, enjoyability level, Hausu, 1977, Japanese comedy horror classic. What do you got?
Again, these brackets needs to be broken. I gave it a 10. I would give it a 20. I had to pause for a second so everybody could hear that.
Yeah.
I like echo truly. Say what?
You wanted to echo through the ages.
I did.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I truly would give this like a 15 out of 10. Like truly would, but we can't. That's not how it works.
Yeah, this is like the David Meltzer score for wrestling. Everyone thought it was based on 5. Then he gave Kenny Omega like a 6.5, and everyone was like, "You can't do that." Shit. That's where we're at. Though.
You can't.
Yes, that thing you said. I don't know what that means.
But yeah, 15 out of 10 for Glenn. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a little Billy Bob from Varsity Blues and give it a 10. A fucking 10. I mean,
mine is officially a 10.
Yeah,
I can't go.
Yeah, on the scale, you gave it a 10. Sure. But yeah, I give it a 10. I love this movie. I think it hits me in every possible conceivable way that I love to be hit in a horror movie. And yeah, enjoyability wise, it's perfection. It's everything you want.
You also give it a 10.
I give it a 10.
All right. I mean, my fair answer is yes. I give it a 10. Like you said, it like literally hits every single thing that I want from a horror movie, except like genuine fear. Mm-hmm. But I don't want that all the time from a horror movie. I don't. Like, that's why there's like this giant piece of where my heart should be that I love Scooby-Doo and Adventure Time or regular show. Like there's this like it's like the child in me that like loves horror but like doesn't need to know what like mutilation is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's where Hausu falls, even though it's like a live action movie from the 70s. It like fills this void of like live action I don't even know how to explain it, like nostalgia that like pushes boundaries in every way but like doesn't break them.
Mm.
But also is like this filmic like perfection. Like it did every single goddamn thing in perceivable effects of its time, but it's also like super enjoyable. Like there is nudity in it, full disclosure, but I truly think you could watch this with kids.
Yeah, I would argue if you were to take the nudity out, this would be PG-13.
Like older kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Who would like understand what they're seeing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You know,
Maybe
I'm gonna say, like, you know, you talked about like that genuine fear, and I personally, like, as a horror movie fan, I have a real problem with taking the dial and turning it to a level of absurd that it kind of cracks my brain a little bit. So for me, there is a lot of fear in this because there's fear in imagery for me that hits really hard. Like I have some phobias like the patterned, like hard patterns like jackfruit or honeycombs really break my brain a bit. So like when you start getting into some of the more absurd imagery in this film, like the piano scene and that thing coming to life in very unnatural movements of things, like the piano lid coming out as and acting as a mouth, like that type of imagery to me is really like, it's not consciously scary, but it's subconsciously scary. For instance, like in the Ring remake, the American version of Ringu, the first time we see a victim of was it Samara?
Samara.
That distorted, like,
that's
like
awful.
broken face is such a 180 on reality. Like
So
reality bending shit is horrifying to me. It's why one of my biggest fears is temporal displacement. Like I have a temporal displacement phobia that I learned about during a very interesting vacation. But yeah, I realized coming out of that I have a genuine fear of waking up in a time that is not now. Like that movie, was it Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon?
Yep.
The black
Great
and white
movie.
portion of that movie, the original Twilight Zone episodes that are in black and white are really scary to me because there's just something about my brain can't click over into the idea that color existed. Like it's a weird phobia I got. Yeah, temporal displacement's terrifying to me. But this movie has that. Like it has those moments of really I mean, I could really only compare them to fine art, like gallery art. And I really hate performance art, like as a fucking genre. I can't stand it. But like, there's something artistic and scary about this movie to me. Because I don't know if it's like, it makes you wonder, like, what was the director thinking? What was the writer thinking? Like, how did they come up with this? Like, in another world, this movie is Clive Barker to me. You know, like that's where I'm at. But yeah, no, I'm there with you, Glenn. I love this movie. I fucking love this movie.
Love
It's
it.
funny that you say that. In another world is Clive Barker, and then we're talking about how it's almost something you could introduce to older children. Austonian was saying dismemberment can be off-putting, but to me, the dismemberment in this movie, like I said, it's very for me, it's evocative of those paper dolls, that paper doll situation, so it is more acceptable. So it's almost like a storybook version of Clive Barker.
Yeah.
or like a cartoon version.
Yeah,
I
well,
agree.
I think if I'm recalling correctly, the only time we really see blood is in the clock scene with Sweet, where it's
Mhm.
green and then it's
I mean,
red and the clock's like pouring blood. Like obviously at the end with the cat, that whole scene is a pool of blood. But
right.
like throughout the movie, there's dismemberment, but there's not like, you don't see a
It's not
torso
gushing
and
blood.
arm spurting blood everywhere. It's not a
Mhm.
bloody movie, save the last
Right.
5 minutes of the film. But Denise, I'm sorry, how did you enjoy the film overall?
I mean, I loved it. I loved it after the first time we saw it, even though I was like, what the fuck did we just see? It was so wild. I think Austonian said it was a trip. That's exactly what it was. It was a fucking trip. Like I said before, it's a candy store for the eyes. Visually, there's so many things color wise and movement wise and trick wise that you're just gobbling up the whole time. And watching it now with the intention of talking about it later made me appreciate it even more, with all of those visual effects, with all of the camera tricks. Like, it was really fabulous. I gave it a 10.
Wow, so triple tens across the board, a perfect score on enjoyability. If that's not a resounding recommendation, I genuinely don't know, because fucking everybody's tastes are different. So all three of us loved it. You may not have, but here we are. We find ourselves at the end of the Yellow Brick Road. Our final thoughts, our total scores. How much of your bucket is full? Glenn, tell us, what is your total score for Hausu?
90.5.
Boom.
That's a big score, man. That's a
Mm-hmm.
big score. What are your final thoughts? Give us your final thoughts on the movie.
It truly is one of my favorite movies. Like I said earlier, it literally hits every practical and optical effect there is that I'm aware of, um, which like skyrockets for me. It's also, I can't say it. I can say it better because I'm about to amend what they said than what Criterion said. What I said earlier in the stream, that it's a Scooby-Doo movie directed by Mario Bava. It's a Scooby-Doo movie directed by Dario Argento.
Yeah.
And that's not giving shit to Mario Bava, because like he was the master of composition and lighting, but he didn't normally make his characters kids, teens, whatever, but Argento did.
Yeah.
So like to me, it's Argento made a like soft Argento movie in Japan, which like if you're like a super horror nerd like I am, like that sounds like the gold mine, which it is. Like Hausu is the gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll like try to come up with things that are better, because like I won't.
Yeah, you peaked too soon. This is it. This is the best
Yeah,
we're gonna get
it
it
is.
on.
I'll come up with some crazy shit, but like it won't be it won't hit every level on this level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what movie gets 10 out of 10 for Glenn.
Right.
I don't think there will be.
Denise, tell us about your final score. What was your final score? What is your how full is your popcorn bucket?
My final score is, I was like, I thought we already talked about this. We didn't. My final score is 83.5. So
Rock
it's pretty
solid.
darn full. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. What are your final thoughts on the movie, D?
I think that overall it is definitely, especially if you're a fan of horror, or even artistic oddball films. It is 2 thumbs up. Yes, like we said, be aware there is nudity, and they are supposed to be schoolgirls, so it is odd, but it is also something that is very, very much not an issue in other countries. So that's just the American in me talking. But having said that, it's also not like, even though, because we're taught from a young age that everything here is like no taboo. I mean, granted, it was in response to trying to make bad stuff not happen, but there's such a fear of nudity and sexuality that that if you're watching this as an American, you could be like, oh, look at those two girls, they're too close together. But none of the nudity, none of the actions were like sexual in nature. So the nudity wasn't, it didn't even stick out that, I mean, I did say at one point, I'm like, there's quite a bit of nudity for young schoolgirls, but it didn't stick out as trying to be a gross thing. Yeah. It was an artistic thing. So warning there, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you know, total score for me was an 80 flat. My highest score to date of all 100 episodes we've done, 3 episodes we've done.
All 3.
It's your highest score.
It is my highest score to date, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Although to be fair, 3 episodes and 5, 6, 7 movies.
There you go. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, that's for true. Yeah, to date, that is my highest by a long shot, like by a deep stretch.
Yeah. You were actually really surprised at how low yours were previously.
Yeah, but this movie's perfection, man. It's
It's
very different. It's an experience. It has so much going on in it. And it really, like, Glenn, I couldn't agree with you more. I think you summed it up better than any of us. It's your picks, that makes sense, but this should be shown in film schools. Mm-hmm. Like, this type of cinema is so brave and it's so bold that you don't see it much today. Like, it's you know, you don't really get that type of commitment to the art in today's cinema. I like, to be honest, like,
if you do, you have to go into the fringe. You have to go into the fringe to find it.
Or Nicolas Cage movies in the last 4 years.
And
like, I shit you not, but that's where, like, I genuinely, I say that 100%, like, fucking Color Out of Space, Mandy, and now what's it, Willie's fucking Fun World or whatever the fuck it is. Like, Nicolas Cage has hit a renaissance in playing crazy characters in crazy absurd situations.
What I can guarantee is 100 is when the 3 of us make a film.
Oh, that's going to be 100 for sure, absolutely, and that'll happen someday, and then we'll rate it. We'll have much more famous people come on and rate the movie we make.
I will say though that it is artistic without being pretentious or condescending, which is also a rarity.
Which, holy shit, is crazy, especially in the fucking 70s. What?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of condescension in the 70s.
A lot of it.
Pretension. I'm not going to name names because I know there's people who like movies from the 70s that are terrible. But
speaking of pretension, but yeah, here we are. We're at the end of the show. We did it, guys. We filled our buckets. We talked about a movie. We're coming up on 3 hours, so I'm going to try to get us out of here pretty fucking quick.
This is one.
We talked too much we talked too much at the beginning.
No, listen, it's our show. We do what the fuck we want with it. That's
right.
That's the whole culture of Channel 29.
Should we talk about next week?
We're going to talk about next week. Denise, tell us your pick.
Did you not want to talk about next week yet?
I know I want to talk about next week. that's part of the announcements I'm about to do. No, I want you to do it right now. What's going on, Denise? It's your pick.
Wait.
It's your pick, Denise. Next week, tell the people at home they're all waiting to see. What are we going to watch next week, Denise? Tell us now.
Cats and kittens who are not fighting because they're locked in different rooms right now. I'm going to bring it back. I don't want it to
We're
be
1977?
too much. It's a 1978 film, actually.
Oh.
But I'm going to bring it back from the wackier, trippier films, and I'm going to go into something a little more classic. 1978 John Carpenter film called Halloween. Was it not 78, Glenn? Because you look like I said something wrong.
No, well, I'm gonna lose friends.
Oh yeah. Fucking how dare you.
This is gonna be a fun one, folks. We're gonna see some debate. So yeah, tune in next week, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna be talking about the John Carpenter classic ? Halloween.
Stop it.
And until then, we have a lot of great programming coming up on the channel. We've got This Show is Cursed tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. This Show is Cursed. Myself and David Saunders talking about RPGs. That's going to be a blast. And then Monday night, we're back on Monster of the Week, Through the Void. That's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern. That's myself and Denise again, because, hey, until people want to pay us to do this, you're going to see a lot of us on this show.
I'm free.
That's what we do. So Monster of the Week, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's our keeper, Alex Gaston, myself, Denise, Shelby, Melody, fighting monsters, saving the world, having a great time doing it. Wednesday nights, of course, we have Denise's Dead by Daylight stream, Dead by Daylight, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday nights, if I'm feeling like it, we're going to do a bonus round. Had a blast last night with Sean Becker and Denise playing Killing Floor 2. Made some new friends.
I had so much fun waiting for my game to load.
Yeah, Denise didn't get to play because, once again, Killing Floor 2 seems to evade her in this world and the next. But while we're here and while we're having fun, and then again, of course, next week, 10 p.m., we're going to be talking about Halloween. Denise, Glenn, tell the people at home where they can find you on the internet.
Glenn, go for it.
Shit.
All right then.
Sorry.
Denise, go first.
Okay, I will go first. You can find me on the socials at Denise Pantoja. You can find me on Twitch, same place at Denise Pantoja. That's my channel. On Saturday nights, I'm playing Resident Evil. Boy, is it hard. I tried to do the second episode of my cooking show today, but that failed, and I'll explain all about that later. So much fun. And yeah, TikTok, because I think I'm going to do some explaining about what happened today on my TikTok as well, and the socials. So if you want to follow me, that's the Demogorgon. That's me. I'm the Demogorgon.
Oh, have I added that in yet to your profile?
I don't think so, which is
not.
fine.
We got to get that in there.
But yeah.
Also, Denise, tell the people at home where they can find us on Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights, we are also playing a D&D live play at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. That's on twitch.tv/fracturedroll. Familia represent.
I got the chat command up. I got it.
You did it.
I did it during the show. If you ever, if anyone at home ever catches me staring slightly off camera and doing this, it's because I'm doing something like for production wise. Because there's no
like a chat command or tweeting.
Yeah, there's no TD here. There's no marketing department for Channel 29. It's us. It's the people you're looking at on camera right now. And Denise and Glenn are chiming in some of the blood and popcorn stuff. Davis is obviously a big help. Alex, everyone that's on the channel chips in and really does a great job. And I love everybody on this channel, and I'm so grateful and so lucky to have such amazing friends that want to have fun with me and do cool stuff on this channel. So just
amazing supporters.
Yeah, well, Glenn, before we get to you, just a quick shout out to all of you watching in chat, whoever watched, Epic, Australian Night, all you guys that are donating gift subs and supporting and giving back to the community. Thank you so much. And all of our friends, both old and new, from the channel. It's such an amazing experience to be surrounded by such talented and truly, genuinely good human beings. This industry is full of shit and full of shit people. So it's amazing to be so fortunate to have such amazing friends that want to create cool shit with me while we're in the process of building this channel up. And we do that with all of you. So thank you for that. Glenn, have you remembered your socials yet?
I have. I'm terrible at them because I don't like being social.
We're back.
He's on Twitter. He's at go ahead, you can say it.
God damn it. No, I'm on Twitter at oddmoviemaster.com. No spaces, no underscores. Somehow that wasn't taken.
Impressive.
I'm new to Twitter, so give me a minute. I'm also on Instagram at Glenn with 2 N's, because that's how you spell Glenn correctly. _ Akers, AKERS, phonetically correctly. underscore, because there's other Irish people. And that's how you find me on those two social hands.
He takes beautiful food pictures.
I do. Twitter will be mostly where I do horror things. But if you do like food, I eat food and I take photos of it.
Yeah, Glenn makes really good food too. Glenn's a really good
He
cook.
does make good food.
He's got award-winning chili. It's a real thing.
That is actually true.
It's actually true. It's a great. We'll tell that story sometime, Glenn, when we do a movie about chili.
Should get Otto here.
Yeah,
he
for
didn't
real.
need it because he's a vegetarian.
He is a vegetarian. My name is TJ Rotell. You can find me on the internet wherever popular internets are sold at TJ Rotell. Yeah, just some.
You should follow him, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much.
He is a son of a bitch.
I'm a real son of a. But yeah, that's the show. That's the show, y'all. We did it. We got another one in the can. Congratulations,
we did
everyone. We made it. We made it through yet.
We decided the movie ahead of time.
Yeah, which is.
And good. We did it in under 3 hours.
We did it under 3 hours. We'll try to get it down under 2 next week, but we'll see. But we're gonna go. I'm gonna shut down the show, and then we're gonna go raid our friends Geekish Network.
Fun.
And say hi to them over there. So please go follow those guys. Let them know that the 29ers are there to represent and show them some love. Y'all, thank you so much for being here. It is a genuine honor to do this for you guys, and we're so happy that you hang out with us. We'll see you tomorrow night in the show's curse. And until then, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and do good in the world. And we'll see you next time. Much love. Good night.